Maggie, for your 40-yard dash at next year's draft, have someone attach a bag of gummies to a stick like they do at a dog track. See, that implies that I needed some kind of motivation. The motivation was to not embarrass myself, which I'm pretty sure I did. I had like a Fred Flintstone kind of wind up where I was like my feet were going, and then I took off.
Yeah.
Like
you were
fast feet.
Next year, maybe, can we get you a coach or something? Somebody tell you how to get out of the blocks?
How about just like a pair of shorts?
Some sneakers, maybe?
I got to plan a little better for this thing.
The upright running style, you have so much wind resistance.
I told you, I'm taller than people think, so that's a whole 5'8". I'm like a parachute out there.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
The Miami Heat, the most intimidating team left in the NBA playoffs. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff hanging out with you across the country on CBS Sports Radio. You want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Perloff, it was a thing of beauty for the Heat last night. Not because, like, their basketball is so beautiful, even though they have their moments. It's how they get another team with a superstar player to completely lack poise. The amount of turnovers that the Celtics, and specifically Jason Tatum, had at the end of the game last night, Perloff, they gave away the game to Miami. And it just shows that I think teams are intimidated because the Heat play this consistently tough brand of basketball where the only way you beat them is if their shots aren't falling.
Yeah, but I feel like last night they won because they were hurling in shots from left, right, and center all over the ocean.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is Jason Tatum had those bad games against the Sixers and bounced back. So who's Jason Tatum? And third question is, Sixers did this in game one. Are the Heat going to be able to keep this up? Yeah, they look like the better team last night, but the Celtics dropped game one and eventually figured it out.
Okay, but I would not call the 76ers a very mentally strong team. There are games that we know that James Harden is beat before he even gets on the court. We know, we pencil these bad James Harden games. And to be honest, bad Embiid games too. I mean, he totally no-showed in game 7. I think there's a thing about the mental toughness of the Heat where even more than the Celtics. Like, the Celtics are going to turn the ball over. That's what hurt them last year in the finals, too. The Heat don't do that kind of thing. They'll lose games. They'll lose games, of course. Like, the shots don't fall. But you never see sloppy. You never see the coach, when your team's getting the doors blown off you, not calling a timeout. They always do the right thing, it seems. It doesn't always mean they win, but they always do the right thing. And I think that's intimidating to teams. And that's what makes this different from the last series against the 76ers.
It's funny. When I hear intimidating, I think Shaq. Dug your face.
Draymond, a little different, yeah.
Well,
I'm not talking about that.
It's a different kind of intimidating. Just intimidating because you don't think. I mean, in the first half, they were really sloppy, uncharacteristically. Right? They had 11 turnovers in the first half. I think only 1 or 2 in the second half. Yeah, so they definitely, you saw a good Heat and a bad Heat. Yeah, I don't know. For example, Jimmy Butler hit that long three towards the end of the game. It was a decisive three. He was 10 feet behind the line. It rattled in and out.
That's a little sports guy.
There was a lot of those shots last night. I was watching them like, I don't know if they're going to continually hit this. Max Strus, when he got hot in the third quarter, had a guy in his face and just started draining threes. Gabe Vincent. I keep on waiting for these guys like Cinderella. What's the expression? The glass slipper to come home or something?
Turn into a pumpkin?
Yes.
Clock strikes midnight?
Gabe Vincent and Max Strus and that other G League guy.
Caleb Martin?
Yes. When are these guys going to show their background?
Okay, but here's the thing. They are battle-tested. They made it to a Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and they were one Jimmy Butler miss away from winning that Game 7. And usually those kind of role players don't shoot like that on the road. They usually shoot like that at home. They do it on the road. And I would actually contend that it's not just these lucky shots. I think they're making their own luck because they're turning the ball over at incredible rate and they're efficient in the fourth quarter. Like, they talked about this on the broadcast a lot last night, which is how good the Heat are in close games and how much better they are in close games than the Boston Celtics are in close games. And that's your star players, it's smart players, and it's a good coach. And we just saw Jason Tatum set a new record for points scored in a Game 7. All right, he had 51 points to send Perloff 76ers to Cancun. He didn't even get the ball, barely, in the fourth quarter. He scored 4 points in the fourth quarter. And it's like, that's never going to happen with the Heat. You're never the ball's not going to be in Jimmy Butler's hand. There's got to be a reason it's not in Jimmy Butler's hand, not because the other team is baiting them into something like what happened with Boston last night.
Yeah, I mean, this, like we said, Tatum does this a lot, though. He's had a lot of bad games. He's probably had more bad games in the playoffs than good games this year. He had 7 points in one game against the Sixers. Here's the thing. They shot 52% from three last night.
The Heat. Yeah, it's a wild clip.
I'm taking the Celtics in game 2.
Well, game 2. I mean, history will show you that they're going to win that one.
I honestly am a little nervous about betting against Jimmy Butler. He's got that Joe Burrow feel right now. Like, don't bet against Jimmy Butler.
Right. I know.
I just think the shots were, everything was falling for the Heat last night, and it just doesn't strike me as repeatable.
Okay, you told me this before the show, but you have not told me what it is.
Okay.
By the way, you're welcome to call 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Quick hello to the Weedos and the Purple Drinkers in the chat. Hello. Perloff has not told me, but he's like, I have a perfect comp for Jimmy Butler. Like, a comp for Jimmy Butler? Who? Jimmy Butler is the comp. Who's the comp for Jimmy Butler? Why have you kept this from me all morning?
Okay. I will tell you right now, this is going to sound crazy. Okay. I saw a little Michael Jordan on the court last night.
Get out of here. Stop.
So here's the stat. Jimmy Butler and Michael Jordan, the only players with multiple road playoff games with 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals, and there's one other category. 35, 5, and 5. Only, 5 boards, 5 assists, 5 steals. The steals last night. Who did that remind you?
6 steals.
Dropping into the passing lane and just seeing the entire court as it is unfolding. It reminded me so much of Jordan in the playoffs, because Jordan would just he wouldn't play any one-on-one defense. He would just start to play the passing lanes as he got older.
Yeah.
Jimmy was doing the same thing, and just, there's a superior player on the court when he's getting key steals. If you look at the all-time steals leaders, it's like Jordan, LeBron. I mean, it's the great, great players. Yeah. And that's, to me last night, that's where Jimmy took over the game. When he was getting those steals, I'm like, oh, he's the best guy here.
It wasn't even just the steals. It was also like, the Tatum travels, like just sort of getting them off. Like, he kind of gets people off of their game a little bit. Jimmy Butler like Jordan. Yeah.
Also, the other thing too is obviously he's playing like Jordan right now. He's scoring 30-something points a game. He's hitting everything, and he, like Jordan, he's mid-range. He's not really a three-point shooter at all. He's getting the hole, and he's just right now. Yeah, I don't think that's a stretch to say Jimmy Butler in this postseason is playing Michael Jordan-like. Because how many points a game is he scoring? 32 points a game, shooting 58% or something. He's been ridiculous. I know that's crazy to say that, but he's definitely having a Jordan-esque playoff.
Interesting. I mean, Jordan-esque playoff is kind of like the highest compliment you can give to somebody.
If he gets through this entire NBA playoffs and wins the whole thing, then I'll feel really good about it.
Well, of course. Yes, because Jordan never lost when he got to an NBA final.
Yes. So they're up 1-0. Seems like they could get out of the East.
Yeah.
How they would find the height to hang with Denver or LA, I have no idea. But if he could do this, it's also unlike LeBron, a little bit unlike LeBron. Jordan had I am going to do it on my own. I know Pippen was there, but it was always Jordan, and everything flowed through him.
Yeah,
everything is flowing through Jimmy.
Well, the other thing, too, about Jordan, that sometimes LeBron does this, but sometimes he doesn't, which is not only am I going to close this game out on the offensive side, but I'm also going to close this game out on the defensive side.
Yeah.
So whoever your best player is right now, I'm D'ing them up. That was always like a Jordan thing, which LeBron did do sometimes, like in his prime. Pete Tollner in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Jimmy Bucket's unstoppable and the most clutch closer in the playoffs.
Oh, he definitely is.
But here's the funny thing. When you and I talked about this, 24 hours ago, we said, who's the best player left in the playoffs? Yeah. We did a top 5. You and I both had Jokic as number 1.
But I had Butler, too.
I know, yet I think the Heat are the more intimidating team, even than the Nuggets, even than the Lakers. Like, I think right now the Heat are more intimidating than the Lakers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, than the Lakers, but not the Nuggets.
I think in the Nuggets, too.
I guess we're usually intimidating differently. I mean, listen, you get out on the court, you see a front line of Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, and Jokic coming at you. I feel that's more intimidating than those skinny 6'6" wings.
I know, but it's just about Jimmy. Like, there's
you think Jimmy's scaring people? That could be. That's reminiscent of Jordan, too.
I think other players realize that Jimmy's got that thing, It's like I think there's a reverence there for Jimmy. Like, I think he's a little nuts, in the way that all good players are a little nuts. He's not afraid to fail. He'll put himself out there. There's no holding back ever, like we see with sometimes, like, I hate to bringing back the Sixers, but, Harden, we talked about this with our boss, Spike Eskin from the Right Stricky Sanchez podcast. There's like an ego thing about this, about, afraid to put yourself out there and then lose and really have to look at yourself in the mirror. There's a lot going on. Jimmy doesn't have any of that. It's not clouded. It's not cluttered. It's just like, it's very clear. And I think that's intimidating because I think other players, they recognize like that kind of greatness.
Right, kind of like Jordan.
And that's why I think it's intimidating. Is he like Jordan, though? I guess I'm making the case, but it just feels weird. You won't even give like LeBron an ounce of Jordan. Yet Jimmy Butler gets
LeBron is very different. Well, I mean, okay, all that's true about Jimmy. I also think the Heat are designed for this kind of series. They have so many wing guys who can close out on Tatum or Brown. I mean, that's the other thing. Tatum's uncomfortable because there's a 6'6" guy flying at him at all times. I totally agree with that. Okay, can I tell you the one difference between the Miami Heat and the Philadelphia 76ers?
Sure.
Intimidating, very true. All that is true. They're in good shape, and the 76ers are fat and out of shape.
So the conditioning.
Do you see Jimmy tire at all in that game?
But he's insane.
He's insane. Very much like Jordan and kind of like LeBron, too.
Yeah,
he gets stronger as the game goes on.
Yep.
I think that was a big advantage last night where I thought the Celtics wore down a little bit. Jimmy did not wear down, and that's why there was no run. That being said, I still take the Celtics in game 2.
Well, game 2, but are you taking now the Heat in the series? Because now the home court advantage is gone. So
yeah, I was surprised. I saw Vegas still has Celtics as a heavy favorite. I lean Heat.
Yeah.
How about you?
I hate to be a prisoner of the moment, but I kind of feel like it's been there all along right in front of us. I mean, the Heat are not your average 8th seed here. I mean, they were 1 seed last year in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, maybe we shouldn't have been so shocked that they took out the Bucks. Unfortunately for EJ's Heat, it's a little bit easier of a... Well, whatever. We'll get to the Heat and the Knicks another time. And then now here with the Celtics, where I think they see an avenue here.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, it wasn't that easy against the Knicks. What was it, 6 games?
Yeah, 6-game series.
That was respectable.
Yeah, I think the Celtics did a few things wrong last night. Obviously, you mentioned, I think an important one was they didn't get the ball to Tatum when it mattered.
Yep.
I thought that they were generally, in the second half, not aggressive. Like, there's one big guy on the Heat. It's Adebayo. Just keep on driving in. Because foul trouble seems like we never talk about foul trouble. Foul trouble come up a lot in these last 2 games. Last night, like, the teams are both starting to lean toward it.
Yeah.
So I would just try, if you get Miami, if you get Jimmy in foul trouble, where are the Heat?
Well, I think he just keeps playing just as hard. I do.
Well, yeah, but then
he doesn't stop,
Right, but he'll get a 6. I'm saying, like, I think he got up to, did he get up to 5 last night? He was pretty close.
I know he had 4 like midway through the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So anyway, I think there's a lot of series left, but Jimmy is a singular force. So wait, can we do our player rankings now?
Sure, on the fly. Jimmy. Jokic.
Where did you didn't even have Jimmy 2, did you?
I did not. I absurdly, stupidly had Tatum 2.
Yeah, that was...
What a loser I am.
Tatum was not good in that Sixers series, by the way. He was generally... Yeah, I know he came on unbelievably well in Game 7.
Well, but it wasn't just the Game 7. I was also very much impressed by the fourth quarter of Game 6.
Yeah, but he still ended up 4 for 16 in that game.
No, I know, but... But watching that game, the fact that he was so ice cold and then kept shooting and turned it on in the fourth quarter and was the reason they won that Game 6 gave them such a big boost going home for a Game 7. Like, it was that combined with the Game 7.
Yeah, well, I think you're going to have good games and bad games with him. I think he's going to have a couple more good games the rest of the series. I just see the Heat, and I don't get it. I totally don't get it. Kevin Love is still out there.
Hitting threes.
I know. Kevin Love and these undrafted guys, it still is a bit of a mystery. It's mostly Jimmy.
It's a lot of Jimmy. EJ, did you find that watching the Heat versus the Knicks? You have Knicks podcasts. You're so ingrained in the Knicks.
It's so weird because the Knicks series is unlike anything else we've seen from Jimmy Butler in this playoffs. Because in the Bucks, he went crazy at the 50 burger, the 40 burger. Then game 1 last night against the Celtics, he has a big game. The Knicks really tried to just take him away. They were double teaming him a lot. Like, I don't think he ever scored 30 points in that series. So, like, the Knicks took a defeat to the Heat, unlike any other team that will maybe lose to the Heat. The Bucks already did lose to the Heat. So it's almost like watching a different team.
Yeah, right.
It's a very weird experience.
Well, the Heat knew the Knicks were not going to be able to score. They're just not a good offensive team. So the Heat just slowed it down, right? I mean, I remember some of those games were kind of ended up in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the Knicks want to play. So that made sense. But it is interesting to see Jimmy Butler crank it up to another level when you have teams that are essentially willing to say, we'll play you one-on-one. The Knicks said, hey, we're not going to do that. And they still got sent home. So if you're a Miami Heat fan, you may feel like, hey, it doesn't matter how teams play us. We can still succeed.
Well, let's say I know nobody likes Joe Mazzulla, but there are adjustments to be made. That's all I'm saying. They're going to trap Butler in a different way next game. They're going to try something.
They're going to try something, and I don't know if the role players, are the shots going to fall in a game too? Probably not. Again, whether the shots fall.
All the shots fell last night.
Yeah, and that might not happen again. However, I just never think the Heat are going to do the stupid thing. They're not going to be the one who takes the dumb technical or whatever. They're not going to do it's always so much more poised.
11 turnovers first half. We'll see.
Well, I mean, but you wouldn't see like a meltdown like you saw with the Celtics at the end of the game.
And I think one of the reasons, if you want to get into Mazzulla, no timeouts, where Spoelstra always knows exactly when to call timeout.
Oh, he's so good at that. Mazzulla is not good at that.
Well, he just doesn't call timeouts. It's like he doesn't believe in timeouts.
I know. Marcus Smart said, what did he say? Appreciates that Joe lets them work it out themselves. Like, you got outscored 46-25 in the third quarter.
Okay, Phil Jackson.
Yeah, maybe, exactly. The Zen Master. Maybe, calling a timeout besides a commercial break might be a smart thing to do.
Yeah. By the way,
Thomas L., by the way, wants to point out that the top PER in NBA playoff history is Jokic. So should he be the most intimidating of the guys out there? I still think Jimmy's got like this mental thing. I mean, Jokic is incredible.
You know who's not good?
Who?
Marcus Smart. And Spoelstra knows that, and he is using and abusing that. He knows where the weak spots are on the Celtics at this point. I think that the coaching advantage is real. I was trying to stick up for Joe Mazzulla, but I'm dying to see the adjustments. So if we both think it's Jimmy, put 3 guys on him, just make Gabe Vincent beat you.
Yeah. Well, Bam.
Bam played amazing last night.
And they run a lot of the offense through Bam.
Yeah, Bam was amazing last night. But Bam that is not every game by any means.
No, that's true.
If we did a game, can you tell me where Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, or Max Strus went to college? You might know.
I feel like we looked this up last year with Strus somewhere in the Midwest.
I'm going to say I'm 0 for 3. I'm just going to admit that.
I think it was the Horizon League. Is it a Horizon League
I just want to say there's a San Diego involved with some, one of the San Diego's. All right, Strus. No, Strus went to Marquette.
No.
Damn it. One of them went to Marquette. No, DePaul.
There you go.
Oh, DePaul.
Yeah, I met Mark. Same thing.
Same thing.
DePaul, Marquette. Major Midwestern city schools. Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin sounds like a North Carolina name, but I don't think he went to North Carolina.
Oh, he's got a twin, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, Cody.
Yeah, they both play in Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada.
Nevada. I get credit for San Diego. San Diego, Nevada.
Again, same your geography
same WAC
is
school,
awful.
right? Same Western Athletic Conference. Yeah. That's what I was talking about. And Gabe Vincent?
Gabe Vincent.
You were close to San Diego again, because I believe that's Santa Barbara.
Okay, yeah. So they're all West Coast Conference guys. Yeah.
For Strus, but yeah.
Why are they? How are they finding these guys? Why are these guys not drafted? Help me out here.
They've found the inefficiency. This is like what the front office, they can analytics themselves to death, but they found the guys.
Oh, man. And my guy, Kyle Lowry, just hanging in there. Old guy hoops. Love that.
Coming off the bench now and accepting that role and doing it well, and actually kept him in the game a lot in the first half with those threes. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Thomas L. also pointing out Jimmy Butler, number 33 all-time in NBA playoffs in PER. Okay. Got a lot to do. Bringing a little facts to the conversation, Thomas. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Got a lot to do today. Got a lot of NFL for you. Got some college football as well. The 1-year anniversary of the Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher war of words. How has it been a year? What a delightful day that was. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. Also coming up, the one AFC team that no one is talking about as a contender. This is the team you got to watch out for. No one's talking about them. 855-212-4CBS. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio. We're back in a minute.
You're in a 5-minute break.
4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back on Maggie and Perloff. So I'm perusing the interwebs this morning, as I am known to do.
Yeah.
And I ran into our buddy Ryan Leaf on Twitter, who has a daily show on PointsBet USA. And he was talking about a team that I have not heard anything about all season in the NFL, all offseason. Nobody's talking about this team at all. And he brought up a point that I thought was kind of dead on about the Cleveland Browns. Let's play it.
Deshaun Watson in a full season in the Kevin Stefanski offense. You add a edge rusher to go along with Myles Garrett. Cleveland could really make some waves next year. They could really be the team that showcases, hey, we're paying a guy $236 million guaranteed, and we still built a talented roster.
They are stacked. And I actually don't think that from watching them last year. Remember, Deshaun came back and they won like one game 24-12. They did not look good. They looked completely unthreatening.
Yeah.
But look at the All-Pros on their lineup. There's 6 guys on offense alone who've been All-Pros or Pro Bowlers. Deshaun Watson, a quarterback, obviously All-Pro level. Nick Chubb. I mean, by the way, obviously in the past. I'm not saying he's going to be that now.
Right.
Nick Chubb, arguably the most talented running back in the league.
Yep.
Amari Cooper, 4-time Pro Bowler. Elijah Moore, promising young wide receiver from the Jets. Donovan Peoples-Jones. I mean, he's the Peoples-Jones. Everyone loves him.
That's why.
David Njoku, the tight end, really came on last year. They already paid him. The line. Look at the offensive line. Jedrick Wills, their left tackle, first-round pick, loaded with talent. Joel Bitonio, first-team All-Pro the last 2 years. Wyatt Teller, former All-Pro. Jack Conklin, former All-Pro and Pro Bowler, who they just paid again at right tackle. So they got all these All-Pros on the offensive line. One of the best running backs. I think a very good wide receiving core, and they drafted Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. A former superstar quarterback. And then the defense has Myles Garrett on one side and Zadarius Smith on the other, pass rushing. And then they have one of the best quarterback rooms in the league. They have Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome. They have Martin Emerson Jr. was a rookie last year who PFF just loves. And Grant Delpit, former LSU star. I don't know. I recognize all these names.
Yeah.
And B, it's like there's a lot of Pro Bowlers and All-Pros there, and yet no one is talking about them, Maggie.
Yeah, no one's talking about the Browns. I think there's still residual, like, Deshaun, it's such a thorny issue. You know,
but nobody should be analyzing wins and losses based on that.
Well, he didn't look that great when he came back, too. So it was like, all right, you paid him all this money. It's an unsavory thing because of all the allegations against him. You pay, and then it didn't look good when he came back. You know, so I think everyone sort of put the Browns like on the back burner, like, hey, we got to wait and see what Deshaun looks like. And oh, by the way, it's not that fun to talk about them anyway, because it's not fun to talk about Deshaun, and it's impossible still to talk about him without talking about the off the field stuff. So it's, or at least acknowledging the off the field stuff. You know?
Right. But yes. I do think, though, the average fan compartmentalizes and says, how good are the Browns actually going to be?
Listen, they might be good this year. Listen, here's the thing with the AFC North. The AFC North in general and the Browns, because they're not playing a first-place schedule, because obviously the Bengals will be playing the first-place schedule, so they are playing the AFC South as the crossover this year, so congrats. There's some W's for you. And then you're playing the NFC West, which is, you know, not as ideal maybe as playing the NFC South, but you have 2 teams in the NFC West that are probably going to be pretty bad. I would imagine Arizona definitely looks like they're kind of punting to next year. And then are the Rams going to be good? So it's really the 49ers with quarterback stuff and Seattle. And then, you know, it's like there's a lot of winnable games here for the AFC North beyond the fact that the division's going to beat up on each other, but we know that.
So the Browns have their win totals at 9.5, which is pretty high. They're kind of, Vegas thinks they'll be a playoff team, but I don't think the media thinks they'll be a playoff team.
Probably not, because you can go through their roster and look how good they are, and then I can just counter and tell you, well, here's the Bengals roster. And
the Bengals roster does not match up in a claim for that, in my opinion. I mean, look at show me where
this might be the best wide receiver trio that they have in the league.
They're great, but their O-line is not. I mean, we're talking.
They added Orlando Brown Jr. this year. They've got Kappa, if he's good enough to block for Brady.
Yeah, but he's inside. Okay.
Jonah Williams is not.
He's not good.
Well, I mean, okay, but that's not the reason. I don't think they suffered at all because of that.
Bitonio is probably the best left guard in the league. Jedrick Wills is a stud. Wyatt Teller and Jack Conklin. That's that should be amazing.
Okay, well, I'm giving you the Bengals upgraded at left tackle. They've got Mixon, who is not as good as Chubb, but obviously, but it still means they have a competent run game. And then look on defense. You on All-Pros and you on Pro Bowlers, Sam Hubbard, DJ Reader, B.J. Hill, Trey Hendrickson, Chidobe Awuzie.
You say that's Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith?
Well, it's not.
No.
But Myles Garrett's a former #1 overall pick, so I'm not going to be able to give you that. But Cam Taylor-Britt looked like Deion Sanders against the Bills in the playoffs. I think they are just as good.
I think just as good, but
and they have the best defensive coordinator
talent in
the league, obviously, with Big Lou and Aruba.
Honestly, I think they're very close. I think the Browns on paper definitely have more talent. But none of that matters if Deshaun Watson doesn't return to Deshaun Watson. Well, if Deshaun Watson plays at the peak Deshaun Watson, he can maximize all this talent, and they're right there with Cincinnati. And also, Vegas has them pretty close. It's not radically different.
I think there's also a lot of people out there. I don't know if you can't get odds on this, but like that Kevin Stefanski could be like first coach fired this year.
Maybe, but Stefanski, coach of the year. I mean, he's not. He's had some success. He runs that Gary Kubiak offense. He could be a pretty good offensive coordinator, a good play caller. Last year was, what do you expect? He had Deshaun Watson gone for half the year.
Yeah, Brissett played well.
Did he?
Yeah. I think so. I think Brissett played fine.
He was okay.
He was.
What did they win 7 games last year?
Listen, if you actually want to talk about the real stars on defense, it's actually the Ravens. Who
really? Ravens just have guys who come out of nowhere.
Well, they have like one of the highest paid linebackers, obviously, in Roquan Smith. Patrick Queen is awesome. Kyle Hamilton is. Dude, he's going to be good. He came on at the end of the year. Marlon Humphrey. These are
Marlon Humphrey's good, but he's not Denzel Ward. I would honestly. The Browns have names. You can't deny that fact. I'm not saying that these guys all deliver, but these are Nick Chubb. He's amazing.
I would also say about the Ravens, their wide receiver room now, if Beckham can stay healthy, now you got Beckham, Bateman. We'll see what Zay Flowers can do as a rookie. You got Duvernay, and you have Mark Andrews as your pass catching tight end.
You
still have Dobbins.
You got Duvernay. That's what you're bringing here.
I'm just telling you.
You had Duvernay last year.
Depth, he was.
Who I actually love is Tyus Bowser on the Ravens.
He killed my guy. Defensive guy.
The Ravens. It doesn't matter who those names are. They could be a 4th-round pick out of South Dakota State. They're going to come out there and they're going to kick ass every single game on defense. And we don't know who they are. That's the thing. The Browns have all these first-round picks, all these highly paid guys. Actually, Ryan's original point was you can pay your quarterback guaranteed money and still have max value players all throughout your roster. What the Browns did was they kicked down the can. So Ryan was saying this is ridiculous that you can't give Lamar Jackson and Jacoby Brissett a guaranteed contract because the Browns gave $230 million guaranteed to Deshaun Watson, and they have all pros all throughout their roster, all of them getting paid.
Well, that's a little bit like what the Rams did. They weren't paying Stafford as much as Watson, obviously, but then they're also paying Kupp, and they were also paying
Donald.
Yeah, of course, Aaron Donald. They're playing Jalen Ramsey.
And so what the Browns have done is they have some massive cap hits coming for Deshaun Watson. So the thought is they're going to have to renegotiate again and probably give him more money just to deal with this. But they have so many highly paid players. So Ryan's point, I think it's interesting. What you have to give it's a little against the grain from Ryan because that's not the team people have been talking about.
I know. You should tell him to stay out of your lane. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Jim is in South Carolina, has got a thought on the Browns. What's up, Jim?
Hey, guys. How you doing this afternoon?
Best shape of our life.
It was really interesting, the tease there, because I was thinking there's so many teams that everybody's talking about. I couldn't even think of one that wasn't being talked about. And then it was Cleveland. I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. But my thing was that you guys are right. There's so much talent there. And I actually did watch a little bit of Cleveland last year, and Deshaun looked amazing in moments. There were some plays that he did are like, wow, that was ridiculous. And then there was other plays that he was trying to do something crazy, and it just didn't work out.
Jim, that was an excellent use of a dramatic pause. He looked amazing in moments.
Yeah,
well done. Way to build the drama.
Yeah, I got it. But you have to remember how long it's been since he's really played.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect description. You saw flashes of the real Deshaun Watson.
Surprised when he comes back next year. I don't care about Cleveland. I'm not a fan. I'm a Denver guy. But I think that the guy is not far off. But, the AFC, it's a free-for-all, man.
It's going to be crazy.
It could be anybody.
Well, here's the thing, and Jim, thanks for the call and appreciate it. I think when you listen, I think the AFC East is at a big disadvantage because the teams are good, but also because you're playing the AFC West and you're playing the NFC East. That's tough. Maybe the AFC North, again, they'll beat up on each other, but it's kind of cool. You get to play the AFC South and then you get to play the NFC West. There's winnable games there for you. Because you're going to have to get to 10 wins is going to have to be the absolute minimum of getting in the playoffs in the AFC.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. There's going to be no 8 and 9.
No.
Well, actually, the AFC South winner, you could not. I think the Jags will win more than that, but they could probably win that division at 8 and 9 if they needed to.
Yeah, and they'll get a home game.
yeah. But I don't think that's going to be them this year.
Hosting Rodgers.
But that is nice to know if you're a Jacksonville fan. Hey, we can win 8 games and get out of this bad boy. I think they'll win more than that. But you're right. I mean, strike the schedule. I cannot wrap my head around how are all these teams that are playoff teams in the AFC going to make it? There's so many playoff level teams. Just 3 of the 4 teams in the AFC East for sure have talent level to be a playoff team.
It's going to be funny when it's like no one saw the Browns coming when they have the highest paid quarterback in the entire league. And
and they have Myles Garrett. And Nick Chubb.
Browns, the out-of-nowhere Browns.
Well, I was watching last year. I watched some Deshaun Watson, too. I'm like, why did Nick Chubb just run for 150 yards? And it just looks easy.
Everyone says that all the time about them. 855-212-4CBS, because if you're behind, you can't just keep running Nick Chubb. 855-212-4227. All right, coming up, there was a major glitch during last night's Celtics Heat game. So why does this have the NFL suddenly nervous? Get to that in just a moment. Jason Gay, Wall Street Journal writer and humorist, will join us next after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals tonight in Denver, with the top seed looking to go up 2-0 on the Lakers after getting a triple-double from Nikola Jokic in Game 1. Bruce Brown said they want to turn up the tempo tonight.
We talked about it a lot. We've talked about it every series and throughout the season. That just opens up our offense. So when we get out, we get transition threes, corner threes, and easy ones at the rim.
Denver 7-0 at home in the playoffs. The Eastern Conference Finals of the Stanley Cup playoffs begin tonight in Raleigh, where the Hurricanes host the Florida Panthers. Day baseball today. The Mets take 2 of 3 from the Rays, winning the finale by a score of 3-2. Pete Alonso with his 16th home run. Right now, bottom of the 6th, Cleveland and the White Sox are even at 1. Bottom 9 in Baltimore. The Orioles trail the Angels 6-5. Adley Rutschman has added his 7th home run. Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani each with their 10th. And also today was Miami over Washington by a score of 5-3. Yuri Perez gets his first major league win. Rafael Nadal's hip injury will keep him out of the French Open, as he is taking an indefinite leave from tennis. And at the PGA Championship right now, a tie for the lead between Keegan Bradley and Bryson DeChambeau at 4 under par. I'm Rich Ack.
Coming up later on the Zach Gelb Show, the legendary Ricky Williams stops by, plus we'll recap Game 1 of Heat Celtics and get you set for Lakers Nuggets Game 2, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. CBS Sports Radio.
'You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Okay, I'm old school. I have cable, so I watched the end of the Miami-Boston game last night. But I went on Twitter, Maggie, and everyone's panicking because YouTube TV froze, and a lot of people missed the end of the game. Stu, you missed the end of the game, right? Or you scrambled and found it on TNT?
That's right, the TNT app on my lovely iPhone.
Okay.
Wow, that's how you watch the end?
Yeah.
Sure is.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of Jimmy Butler.
Were you at the Newark airport? I mean, that's desperation.
Oh, that's funny. We watched TNT at the Newark airport. So I open up the interwebs again this morning. Wall Street Journal has a big feature on how ESPN might put ESPN 1, the mothership, as a streaming service. And our friend, Wall Street Journal's Jason Gay, columnist and author of the new book, I Wouldn't Do That If I Were Me, which is hysterical, Maggie. I read it in 2 days, and it's why I'm never moving to the suburbs. But Jason...
Oh, come join us.
Yes, but Jason is also on top of this ESPN story. Jason, how you doing?
I'm just great, thank you. And 2 days is roughly 100% longer than it usually takes to finish this book.
You must have had a lot to do that day.
Yeah, there's a lot of pavement, guided by voices, like my genre, Maggie. Okay, so tell me about ESPN. What does that mean that ESPN 1 might change into really being a streaming service where most people will not get it on cable?
It means a lot. Okay, let's just go to the very sort of fundamental thing that it means is that this is effectively the end of cable as we know it. You know, the reasons to have cable have been shrinking year to year. more and more people are going off to streaming, more and more people doing what we call over-the-top consumption, getting your HBO, getting your, Amazon Prime and so on. And fewer cable subscribers. But one of the main draws, in fact, the main draw for cable for a very long time has been ESPN. Principally that mothership channel that has the big college football games, has the NBA finals, has Monday Night Football. And the fact that ESPN is now considering taking that not off of cable, but also offering it separately over the top as a streaming channel, really, I think, spells the end of, cable as we've grown to know it.
Jason, we got a lot of listeners all throughout the country, obviously, and I think we have a lot of people who just want to watch their sports in a traditional way. They don't want to go searching out for Amazon Prime or now going to have to watch a playoff game on Peacock or having to go a million different places. For that person who is screaming, just give me my sports how it used to be, what do you say to them?
I think Jason is on Zoom motioning to his fingers saying he can't hear you.
Oh,
so,
okay. Well, we'll reboot.
Are we going through the board?
This is funny that we're having a conversation all about technology, and it's not working for us right now.
Oh, there we go. Now Jason's got us. Yeah.
Okay, Jason. So my question was for the people who just want to watch sports in the traditional way, the ones who are screaming, I don't want to find Amazon Prime. I don't want to go to Peacock to have to watch a wild card game. I don't want to have to go searching for all this stuff. I want sports how it used to be. What do you say to that person?
Well, you're describing me, basically.
Me.
I am that consumer, right? I want to be able to flip around, right? That behavior is so ingrained in my life. I'm old enough to remember, actually having to walk up and turn the channel on the TV physically. I think we're kind of all out of luck. I think this is going to be, not to compare it to my own industry, but I don't think it's going to be an overnight switch. Much in the same way, there are still a handful of people who walk down to their driveway and pick up a Wall Street Journal in the morning. There's always going to be some version of cable television, likely cable ESPN, certainly cable news. It's not going to go away next year or 3 years or 5 years from now. But I think that population is getting smaller and smaller. But I think the most seismic aspect of this is what it does to ESPN as a business, because the dirty little secret, or actually not a secret, not dirty at all, about ESPN's business is the fact that it wasn't just a business because they could get a lot of people to pay for ESPN. It was that they got money from people who didn't watch ESPN, namely anybody who had a cable package. They were paying the carry fee for this channel, whether they watch every minute of every day or none of it at all. And that is the sort of hidden genius of sort of basic cable programming, and certainly accounts for the way that ESPN was able to enlarge itself and buy up so many sports. So if you change that revenue system, if all of a sudden you go from everybody's going to pay for it to just the people who want it pay for it, it raises all kinds of questions about revenue. It raises all kinds of questions about pricing. How much will people be willing to pay per month? And what it means in terms of what you'll be able to pay for and buy, these packages for sports with, the NBA packages coming up. These things are not cheap, and they're still applying old-fashioned cable TV prices to what the cost of the NBA, to what the cost of the NFL is.
All right, Jason. People are upset at the NFL for putting a playoff game on Peacock, and it's only May. I could just imagine in January how many of us are going to be upset, being like, wait, I have to download Peacock. Do we have the right to be angry with the NFL for this?
I think that, one playoff on Peacock, and I think it's an opening round wild card game, is not going to disrupt the ecosystem too much. I do feel like you have to have these kinds of things in order to sort of get the behavioral change. Looking back a generation and a half ago, the NFL moved to Fox, which at the time was the fourth channel, a weird channel that had The Simpsons and some other random programming. A lot of people didn't have that on their dial. Obviously, that changed radically over time. I do think you have to have a little bit of disruption in order to change that behavior, and this is part of that.
Jason Gay is joining us. He is a columnist, is a humorist for the Wall Street Journal. Does a fantastic job. So, Jason, last night, people were very upset because they lost some of the Celtics Heat game on YouTube TV. Now YouTube TV paid $2 billion so that they could get the NFL's, the NFL package so you can watch out-of-market games. Should NFL fans be nervous that if it can't handle an NBA game and the system can't handle it, how are they going to handle the NFL on a Sunday, and especially week 1?
Have they come forward and said what the technological problem was? Was it in fact a bandwidth issue?
We're in the dark.
I mean, look, there are going to be growing pains in this, and we've seen elements of this before. My hang up on this now is that I actually do have streaming. I have DirecTV streaming. So I have this sort of cable package that comes streamed to me. So I guess I'm sort of in both worlds, but everyone's watching the game about 5 seconds different from each other nowadays. I don't know if you've had this experience where you have had friends. I've had friends text me saying, oh my gosh, for something that is about to happen on my television 10 seconds from now. And it actually kind of spoils the whole thing. We're all kind of watching this, nanoseconds apart from each other. It reminds me a little bit of like high frequency day trading, where we're like the top analysts are the people who are getting it the fastest. But there are all kinds of hiccups to this. I do think that it's also going to restructure the way that, a lot of these channels are put together. Will we have something like an NFL network? Ultimately, we'll have all the NFL. That will be our one source for this because, again, sort of going back to olden times, the reason why people paid such a premium for this stuff, the reason why it's so valuable is that it would get people to watch your other stuff. You brought the NFL over to your channel because you wanted people to watch your primetime comedies and dramas and all that kind of stuff. If that's no longer your business, or in fact, the business is sports, well, how is that going to rearrange itself? It's going to be a really interesting redistribution of it all.
First of all, I apologize. Of course, we're having tech problems on this interview, but to fit the storyline, real quick, we have a minute left. Jason, in your book, I Wouldn't Do That If I Were Me, you disclose the dirty secret of what happens when mom goes out of town for the weekend, and it's pure chaos. Maggie's here. She's a mother. She has a young child. So you're just admitting that we're terrible as fathers most of the time?
Yes, and I don't think that is a terrible secret to Maggie, probably. We turn into what I call surrender dad, which is, basically a rubber stamp of approval of any sort of behavior the child is not allowed to do when both parents are in the house. Whether this is high octane sugar, caffeinated beverages, PG-13 to perhaps, on the borderline rated R movies, staying up past 10 o'clock, all that stuff happens because dad basically just wants to fall asleep on the couch watching that 10 p.m. NBA game.
This is my future. Right now, the biggest thing I have is when I went out of town once for a Super Bowl, and this was like last year, I got a photo from my kid's daycare, and he was still in his pajamas. I texted my husband, you got to put clothes on him. Jason Gay from the Wall Street Journal. Can't tell you how much we appreciate this, Jason. When we have more technological questions for you about the future of sports on TV, you're our guy. Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Appreciate that. Jason Gay, Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, Surrender Dad was awesome. He had a chapter.
Surrender Dad is so
Surrender
funny.
Dad. And the thing about you also want to watch a game at 10 o'clock but I feel like, I'm sorry, I'm probably being sexist in some way, but I feel like you're a little more organized than your husband.
He's good.
He's very good. I've seen him father.
Full credit.
I've seen him father. He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. He is very, very good. And he does a lot. It's not about the organization. It's just about, I think I'm a little too over the top with it, Mm-hmm. I think he's fine. My husband does everything fine. I'm just like, is he hydrated? Has he had vegetables today?
My wife is obsessed with how many vegetables my kids have eaten. I'm like, their cholesterol's fine. They don't need to eat broccoli every meal.
It's something in our DNA. We can't help it. Coming up, the next disgruntled NFL star who I believe will ask for a trade. I'll give that to you next. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
If you're just joining us, Perloff is putting the finishing touches on 16 ounces of peanut butter. The man is a legend. Got the closer spoon, and Andrew Perloff, like Usain Bolt, cruising to the finish line. Last bite.
I flew way too close to the sun. Now I'm about to throw up all over the sun. Something feels wrong.
Yeah. Oh. Something looks wrong.
I don't feel well.
Ooh.
I'm glad I got through the first jar. That second jar was the biggest mistake of my entire life.
Yeah.
I was doing so good.
It took years off your life. Thank you, Ack, for correcting his grammar.
Ack, honestly, I can choose which way to throw up. I'm definitely going to stop talking.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Amazing day for Andrew Perloff. Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. So glad to have you on this Thursday. A lot to get to. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff hanging out with you across the country on CBS Sports Radio. Obviously got Lakers, Nuggets, game 2 tonight. Get to that in just a moment. But, you know, Perloff, I started thinking about this a little bit. And I started thinking about this upcoming NFL season and some things that I think could happen. And I have reasons why I think they could happen. Okay? And as I started thinking about this one thing, started thinking about it a little bit more, I realize it's time to dust off Machiavellian Maggie.
Machiavellian Maggie.
Raider fans, you're not going to like this, but I woke up today and I saw Davante Adams and his Instagram story with his arm around the general manager, Dave Ziegler, with a caption, "The man." Okay, why is that interesting? Because all of, 2 days ago, an article came out in The Ringer where Davante Adams says that he is not on the same page as the coaching staff in the front office. And he wasn't when they got rid of Derek Carr, who was his best friend, right? And that he really wants to be in a place where he can win. He's also very concerned, and the article made this clear, about whether or not he's first-team All-Pro. And Davante Adams is very concerned, like a lot of professional athletes, about what their standing is in the game. He wants to be known as the best wide receiver in the game. It's important to him to be known about that. He does not want to do his work in obscurity. He doesn't want to do this work on a losing team. Okay. Year 1, not awesome for the Raiders. I think you and I would both agree on that. They were not a playoff team.
Well, yeah, yes, not awesome for the Raiders.
Not awesome for the Raiders.
Pretty good year for Adams, but
Fine
you're saying
year for
different
Adams.
things. Okay.
First team All-Pro, but not a good year for the Raiders. Then they cut his best friend, essentially, who's now going to be the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. And Davante Adams has already admitted he's not on the same page with management. My prediction for this upcoming season is I think Davante Adams asked for a trade. And I'll tell you, I don't know if I can tell you exactly when, but I got a rough date for you. The Raiders open the season at Denver. The next week at Buffalo. I believe they're only one of 3 teams that start the season back-to-back road games. Believe that's true. Double check it. Third week of the season, Sunday night, high-profile game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they are at the LA Rams, then Green Bay. If they've only won one game by the time we get to a Sunday night showdown, a Sunday afternoon showdown, with New England, I think Davante Adams asked for a trade. The reason why he came to the Raiders is no longer there. Yes, they paid him, but he wants to win. If they get off to a really bad start, Perloff, I could see him saying, like, I'm 30, I want to win, I'm about winning, and I need to get out of here.
Okay. I totally agree with all that. Question, will they grant the trade?
Yes. And I'm going to tell you why. The Raiders did, I think, a lot of good things this offseason. They're doing fine things. I don't have like a ton of huge criticisms on the Raiders on their offseason. They brought in Jimmy Garoppolo. Fine. Means you're going to see some Brian Hoyer backup, which that's also not going to make Davante Adams happy. But anyway, if Garoppolo predictably gets hurt. What they did not do, though, is they didn't address quarterback. The quarterback of the future.
Okay.
Jimmy's for now. The quarterback of the future. I look at the 2024 draft class, and I'm looking at quarterbacks, and I'm seeing every college football player under the sun who's going to be coming out this year, starting with the reigning Heisman Trophy winner and Caleb Williams. Like, there are guys, I know we always do wait till next year draft. Guys, this is really it. These are some good, established quarterbacks. This is not guys who had 5 and 6 starts under their belt. No Mitchell Trubisky's in this class. These are dudes who are really have more bona fides, I think, than many classes before them, right?
The class looks sick.
Thank you. So I think that the Raiders, if they could get another first-round pick or something to help them maneuver to get a quarterback next year, I do think they would grant Davante Adams the trade. So, yes, I think they would say yes. They
might even be bad enough on their own to get in with this scenario.
It's going to be tough, though. I mean, Arizona is they're really, it looks like they're really trying for next year.
You know, to get the number one pick. A little devil's advocate. If Caleb Wilson is really this. Caleb Williams is really this number one guy. Then nobody's going to trade anything for him at number one.
It might not just have to be Caleb. I don't think this is a one-guy class. Yeah. I mean, he'll be the top of it, of course.
Right.
But you still have,
I feel like
the entire Pac-12, essentially. You've got Drake May. Quinn Ewers might come out. Okay.
Right. But if you basically, I think you'll be bad enough. If you trade Davante Adams, you're throwing the red flag and being like, we're going to win 5 games. So you'll be in the mix for all those guys. Yeah. Unless it's a 1-2 with Drake May. And if it is 2, you might not be able to trade up. I think if this scenario plays out, you trade Davante Adams, it's all about tanking the rest of the year.
Well, so they might have too much talent to tank. But you can what you can do is you can acquire assets and you can try to use them to move up. The rumors were the Raiders were trying to get up to 1 last year, remember, to get Bryce Young, and they obviously couldn't do it because Carolina beat him to the punch.
But you just said if they have a 1-3 start and trade Davante Adams, we can't be looking at more than 3 or 4 wins, can we?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Jimmy's hurt in this scenario. Who's your quarterback?
Brian Hoyer.
There's no way you're winning more than 4 games of Brian Hoyer with no Davante Adams.
You still have, some good guys on defense. I don't know how many games
I'm not disagreeing with your overall point.
It might be top 10. That's what I'm thinking. And they want another asset so that they could try to package it to
absolutely. But they might get it anyway. One thing, can you get a first-round pick for him?
Depends how much of the salary you want to take on. If you eat some of that salary, I think you could get a first-round pick for him. He's still a first-team All-Pro. This is a guy in his prime. If you're going to have teams who are also in the AFC who are going to be looking for differentiators, I mean, this is going to be a tough conference to make the playoffs in, and you have a lot of teams who are very desperate.
First-round pick for half a season of Davante Adams. It's a big
but it would
price.
Just be the half a season because he's under contract for the next 3 years.
What did they give up to get him? The number 23 pick or something around 20. So it would say to me, that's a pretty good, if this all happens and they can get a first round pick for him, which I think you're right, they might be able to do. I think that it just works out fine. You know what? You tried, it didn't work. I think that'd be a fine solution for the Raiders, unless it does work, in which case, hey, it's also good. I think you could argue Jimmy G is better than Derek Carr.
That's fine, but Derek Carr at least was durable. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he had some key injuries at the worst times for the Raiders, but I think you could have success with Jimmy G. I'm saying, I kind of think you're opening yourself up that not taking that into account as much as possible. That hey, this could all work offensively.
Sure. I mean, listen, maybe they win the game in Denver. They have won in Denver a lot. It's not like that's a house of horrors for them or anything like that. It's not like Kansas City for the Raiders where they just can't seem to win. They can go to Buffalo and they could win. You get Buffalo in September, nice and balmy, before the snow falls maybe. And maybe you have a really big showing on that Monday night against Green Bay, and maybe it's awesome and you look incredible. Sure, then he's not going to ask for a trade. But if it goes down the way that I think it could, then I think he's asking for a trade. I do think the Raiders are granting it.
And one other thing, too. What about, I think people want to live in Las Vegas. What are the trade options? Say Buffalo wants him.
Well, then it's really going to put you to the test. How much do you want to win and how much do you want to live in Las Vegas?
Yeah. Well, he left Green Bay for Las Vegas. Do you think he wants to go back to the cold? He's a Fresno, California kid.
Listen, if you can survive in Green Bay, or not survive, if you can thrive in Green Bay, then you'd be fine in Buffalo. Yeah. I'm not even saying Buffalo would necessarily be the place, by the way.
Poor dude waited a decade to get out of the cold. You're sending him back to Buffalo.
Listen, the Raiders did this to themselves. They traded his friend. Well, they tried. They couldn't even get anything. They cut his friend.
I wonder in that scenario if he would have say, where are you sending me to?
I don't think the Raiders probably feel a lot of loyalty in that sense. So I think they would probably go with the best whoever's the best offer.
Yeah. Okay. I think that all very possible. Although I do think you're just discounting a little too much the chance that it goes good.
No, it could go great.
Yeah.
Listen, you have Jimmy reunited with Josh McDaniels. I don't think Josh McDaniels is a good coach. So I kind of agree with you on that. He has a lot to show. And now he's got his guy in there, right? Jimmy at least knows the offense well. I mean, obviously McDaniels and Carr were not on the same page on a lot of things. So we'll see. Maybe it will work. Stu, you're a big Raider fan. Did I just ruin your Thursday?
No, this is kind of what I'm expecting.
Really?
Yeah, to go poorly. I'm not. If Davante Adams gets traded, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing as a Raiders fan. It kind of feels par for the course.
Well, the other part about this and what brings it all back to today is that he gave that interview to The Ringer and he said all these things. And then you see him post the Instagram photo with him and the general manager saying, the man. He's trying to walk it back. So clearly that article didn't go over well in the Raiders front office. And how could it have when you have your best player come out and say, we're not on the same page?
Yeah.
You know, he's out there doing damage control today. And that's it's May. Like, that's not a good sign, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, he did walk it back, so it could be a good sign. But you're saying it's already, there's fractures that you see.
The waters they're not muddy, but they're muddying.
Hey, Stu, why are you guys cutting Hunter Renfrow? What's up with that, too?
Did you say when or what?
There's a report today that they were going to release Hunter Renfrow in June.
That's been like a rumor for a while. I don't know.
He's the best player on that team.
Didn't they pay him last year?
They paid him last year. I think they gave him $10 million a year for like 3 or 4 years. So
he's great.
He's a good receiver. I don't know why you would cut him. It makes no sense.
What is going on there?
And they traded Waller. Although everyone was kind of done with Waller. Right?
I see that because Davante Adams is just a better Darren Waller. So you can't have both. Those guys, what's the point of having both of them? We'll see. I love Waller. Waller's a great guy. Everyone loves his story.
Yeah.
But if I'm a Raiders quarterback and I'm dropping back to pass, who are you going to throw to? Davante Adams every single play.
Well, but that can be a little predictable.
Doesn't matter. He was beating double teams regularly by the end of the year.
He's so good. He's so good. And, you know, the thing about the article where he was critical of the offense and stuff like that, and he said, you know, I proved I don't need Aaron Rodgers. It might have stung a little bit, but spot the lie. I mean, he's right.
The thing about that article, too, it did imply that he was unhappy about the roster choices. It wasn't the offense, like the style of offense.
No, I don't think it was that. It was the decision-making.
Right, because he ended up with a lot of yards last year, so he can't complain about the X's and O's, I don't think. I think he's pissed about Derek Carr.
I think so, too.
And you know what? It's a weird hill to die on, because you should have known. We knew when Derek Carr signed that one-year contract, the Raiders were trying him out this year. So he left Green Bay for the Raiders. He had to know, but it sounds like maybe he didn't.
And they all, I don't want to say they.
Yeah.
Athletes will always tell you, it's a business. It's a business. We know it's a business. That when things happen, then it's like they get in their feelings about it. It's like, well, I'm human. It's like, well, which one is it? Is it a business or are you human? And I think this is the one where where a lot of athletes say it's a business, I understand it. Yet at the same time, they're human and their feelings get involved.
Yeah, it's like my guy Joel Embiid all of a sudden is sad that Doc Rivers got fired.
Yeah, like how disingenuous is that? Do you think Doc Rivers is getting fired if Embiid's like absolutely not? He's the only person I want to play for. Of course, Doc's getting a 5-year extension if he says that.
The only thing is, Joel has no. James Harden runs that team. Apparently,
and that's a problem too.
Apparently, Joel has nothing to do with this. It's all about what makes James Harden happy. But regardless, it's the same thing. Like Joel is saying, "Oh, I miss Doc," and you're right. That's such a good way of putting it. It's a business, except that it's all so darn personal for these guys.
Yeah, and listen, I think that maybe Adams kind of revealed a little bit in this article that he's someone who really cares what other people think of him because he's so good.
Well, by the way, that was not the coolest comment by him, that he was that he's obsessed with getting All-Pro.
Because he wanted to show it wasn't about Rodgers.
Yeah, that is...
I know. He's telling you who he is.
There is one thing that every player should be judged on in the NFL is do wins.
Well,
and to come out and say All-Pro was so important to me, is super lame. It's kind of like Joel Embiid again, being so proud of being MVP. that was only a wide receiver would say that being all pro was so important to me, because that's an anti-team comment.
It feels a little anti-team. I think a quarterback would get ripped if they said something like that.
Right.
100%.
A wide receiver, you expect that.
Well, it's not even expect. I kind of get it in this sense for him, which is he and Rodgers had this great partnership. They were both awesome. Rodgers is winning MVPs with Davante Adams, and I think Adams wanted to show he's not just a product of Aaron Rodgers. So that I get. I don't
get that, but you don't say that out loud. That's the quiet part.
Well, now we know. Yes, EJ.
But isn't there a part of me that there is a part of me that feels like this year is more of a prove-it year than even last year was for Davante Adams, because you go from Aaron Rodgers then to your best friend who's throwing you the ball a million times. Of course you're going to make all-pro. You didn't win any games with them throwing the ball so many times. They weren't throwing the ball to Renfro as much. They weren't throwing the ball to Waller as much. I know those guys got hurt. But, to me, this season now, okay, no good buddy at quarterback. Are you still going to put those numbers, and will your team win? I don't know. To me, I think this year is actually more of a prove it than last year was.
Well, and it's a good point where I think if they start off the season 1-4, he's like, get me out of here.
Yeah. By the way, EJ, get back to Maggie's original point. If they're not throwing him the ball, then that is a guarantee what you said will come true. If he does not get the targets, forget it.
Yeah, but they'd be stupid not to give him the targets,
Well, you could argue run Josh Jacobs. He's amazing. You could say that's another option, which they did do as well.
Yeah, he led the league in yards from scrimmage last year. So,
yeah, maybe they were targeting him too much last year. Maybe they were like, oh, let's spread it out a little bit more. It'll help him. And then 3 weeks in, Jeremy Fowler reports Davante Adams wants a trade.
It's just like kaboom from Schefter. And he would like to go to the New York Jets now.
No. The first thing you do is you give a list of 4 teams, with the Cowboys as the one definite on everybody's list. So the Cowboys and 3 other teams. For some reason, the Bears often make that list. I don't know why.
Not on this one.
Well, yeah. I don't know. They could use a Davante Adams.
I know, but you're saying he left Green Bay in the cold.
Yeah, I know.
And he wouldn't want to go to another cold weather place. Could go play in Chicago.
Yeah, I know, but he might be interested in the Bears. I'm not saying that that's a team that should trade for Davante Adams.
Okay.
I mean, Justin Fields, I would throw the ball to him. Every pass is to him.
Just let the record show. I said I think Adams could ask for a trade. I never mentioned the Bears, okay? That's Perloff putting his special sauce on that. I never said the Bears. But anyway, tell me what you think. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, today is the 1-year anniversary of Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher's war of words. What has changed for Alabama since then? Author Monte Burke's going to join us. He wrote the book, Saban, The Making of a Coach. He knows this man better than Miss Terry. I don't know. Maybe. Monty's going to join us in just a moment, talk about Saban and Jimbo Fisher 1 year later. Get to all of that and your phone calls at 855-212-4CBS. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff straight ahead.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. 1 year ago, one of the great moments in the history of college football. Maggie, in May? Yes, in May. It was a year ago when Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher traded the epic war of words. It started off with Saban doing a very innocent public appearance about something totally different than this. He was asked about NIL. He went off.
I mean, we were second in recruiting last year. A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, and likeness. All right, we didn't buy one player. All right, but I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that in the future because more and more people are doing it.
Okay, so that was that was Nick Saban. Jimbo Fisher didn't have to respond, could have went about his day, but less than 24 hours later, we got a press conference, and here comes Jimbo Fisher.
It's despicable that a reputable head coach could come out and say this when he doesn't get his way or things don't go his way. The narcissist in him doesn't allow those things to happen, and it's ridiculous. But when he's not on top, and the parity in college football he's been talking about, go talk to coaches who coach for him. You'll find out all the parity. Go dig into wherever he's been.
Oh, so good. So good. Okay, Monte Burke is the author of Saban, The Making of a Coach. We had to call him in today because this was such a big moment. Monte, a year later, what have we learned about Nick Saban since that exchange back and forth with him and Jimbo?
I love that exchange, by the way. You know, there's a whole book being written about that exchange. And if that's not the SEC football in a nutshell, I don't know what is it. So it's pretty clear that Saban doesn't like the way NIL works right now. And he didn't like the fact that Jimbo out-recruited him that year and kind of outsmarted him. He's complained a lot. Nick's complained a lot about how kids are going to schools for money and not necessarily for the best fit and blah, blah, blah. His advantage, for years and years and years was in the face-to-face recruiting. And that advantage is not as big as it used to be because of all this money flowing around. But you have to remember that everything that Saban does is measured, and he does it all for a reason. He uses the media brilliantly to talk to an intended audience. It's never the people who you think he's addressing. He's usually talking to a recruit, or he's talking to his team, or he's talking to his fans. He gets on there and he complains about, not enough noise in the stadium. And in this case, he was talking to boosters. He's the rare old dog who can learn new tricks. Whenever he's been faced with something new in college football, he's adapted and adjusted. You had one good example is the dawning of high-powered offenses. He's an old defensive coach. He hates high-powered offenses. What did he do? He went out and hired Lane Kiffin. He got recruited Tua and Bryce. So I think this is an adaptation, and he was caught a little flat-footed. Jimbo beat him on the field in 2021, and then he beat him in recruiting that year. And I think this moment that he knew that would get out somehow, that what he said there, that was kind of his clarion call.
Wait, Monte, are you sure he knew that was going to go national? Because I've read that it was a bizarre little event about something of World Games in Alabama or something. Did he know for sure that was going to the national media, what he was saying about Jimbo?
I think he thought that there was a good chance it would. And even if it didn't, the people in that room were the people that he, wanted to reach there. Those are the boosters. Those are the people he was saying, look, you've done great. We've done great. We need to do better. We need more money. I think since then he's caught up. You've got that, there's that new something called the Advantage Club, which is a project they're doing with Learfield, which is a big sports management company, sports marketing company that is going to be sort of the hub of all their NIL stuff. And then they have Yay Alabama, which is which is basically Alabama's collective. He beat, the proof's kind of in the pudding already. He beat Jimbo on the field last year, barely, but he beat him. And he beat him in recruiting this year. Next year's class is shaping up to be pretty good too. So it's so fascinating to me to watch him go through these things because you could see the pain in his face. He's got everything working perfectly, and then all of a sudden something switches up. But he does such a masterful job, even at his age, of adapting and adjusting to whatever is thrown his way.
We're talking to Monte Burke, author of Saban, and also, if you're looking for a Father's Day present, Lords of the Fly, the greatest tarpon fishing book that is and ever will be, Monte. I loved it. I didn't know what tarpon fishing was until I read this. It is really cool. But, awesome. Monte, if you say he's caught up, then why is Alabama falling a little bit in these really early preseason rankings? It feels like now they're in an unusual place where they're behind Georgia and maybe a couple other programs, which we're not used to at all.
Yep. So I think, this year is perhaps a bit of an anomaly. They clearly, from the outside anyway, it looks like they don't have a quarterback. Neither or none of the three quarterbacks who played in the spring game were very good. Jalen Milroe, who I love, has all the talent in the world. And to my mind, could be a Heisman contender if he could cut down on some mistakes and, work on his passing game a little bit. He's by all rights and means a great kid. And it looked like a panic move to bring in Tyler Buchner from the second string guy at Notre Dame. But we don't know anything. We don't know if Milroe is going to be the starter. We don't know if Buchner is going to be any good. I think every year to expect them to be ranked in the preseason rankings in the top 2 or top 3 is a lot to ask. And you may have a down year here. They, of course, have the number 1 QB recruit coming in next year, kid from California whose last name is Saban. And, if he tumbles down, it wouldn't be surprised to me. It wouldn't surprise me this year if they lose 2 games, maybe 3 games, and maybe have a little bit of a down year. But I would guess, based on this year's recruiting class and the class coming in next year and the way that Saban adapts and adjusts to all this stuff, that they'll be back up there pretty soon. And I'm not writing off this year, by the way, not at all. I think they have a really good looking team, save for a relatively big question mark at quarterback. But the running backs look great. Offensive line looks great. The defense, even though they lost Anderson, looks spectacular. So we'll see.
Monte Burke is our guest. He's the author of Saban, The Making of a Coach. We're talking about Saban. It's been a year exactly since the Saban, Jimbo Fisher war of words over NIL. Monte, last one from me with you, and we haven't talked to you since. Georgia won their second straight national title. How is that resonating with Saban?
I mean, it has to drive him absolutely crazy. I mean, it wasn't until 2021 was the first time he lost to one of his proteges. And since then, he's lost a couple times. So I think it's driving him crazy. And I think in some ways it's if you're an Alabama fan, you have to be, in some ways, maybe happy about this, because this is, I think, going to drive him, for one last hurrah here, whether he retires in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, who knows? But I think this is maybe that little craw, that little thing that's stuck in his craw, that's going to motivate him to get back sort of at these guys. I mean, I think Georgia's a juggernaut now. There's no doubt about it. Kirby's a great coach. Georgia should be favored to win it all. That's for sure. But, I sort of like Saban in this underdog role, I have to say, especially, in what has to be the fourth quarter of his career here. I like the fact that he's having to be nimble. I saw today that he's actually vacationing in Italy. Which I think is actually kind of interesting too. He rarely takes vacation, so maybe this is a little mind-clearing thing. I don't know what's going on, but again, they got to play the games. We'll see what happens.
Monte, there's no way he's in Italy. He's checking out kickers. Obviously, soccer players. That's what he's doing. He's working over in Italy.
Some huge Venetian center over there. Yeah.
Monte, so he's 71. He'll turn 72 this season. When Nick Saban retires, is this era of Alabama dominance end?
It all depends on the next coach, obviously. I mean, the thing about this NIL thing, as it stands right now, is that there are schools that have advantages over Alabama when it comes to money. I mean, Texas, you can't compete with Texas or Texas A&M or even Oregon for that matter. So, what they can do is bring it up to a certain level, which I think he's done now, where they could be at least competitive with those schools and their collectives. And then you could say, hey, also, here's 6 national titles over here, and look who got drafted, look which players got drafted in the NFL draft this year. So it's going to depend on who they get. I mean, the speculation has always been that Dabo will want to come home to mama. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but it's all going to be about whether they get a coach who can continue this incredible run of excellence. And man, it's hard. After Bear Bryant, there were 25 years in the wilderness. I mean, there was that one national title in 1992 with Gene Stallings, but it was a rough 25 years. So we'll see.
Real quick, Monte. So Saban and Jimbo Fisher kind of said they forgave each other and got along. Is that real? Are those two really okay with each other?
I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, I think that Saban has a very cordial relationship with most of his former assistants, including Kirby Smart, by the way. I think someone told me that they see each other sometimes in the summer and have a glass of iced tea. Jimbo, it seemed a little more personal. And especially when, re-listening to what Jimbo said there, it's very personal with Jimbo as well. So it may not be on Saban's side, it may be on Jimbo's side, but they don't seem to like each other one bit at all. And that happens. That's fine.
Monte, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. All things Nick Saban and everyone in his orbit. The author of Saban, The Making of a Coach, Monte Burke. We'll catch up with you soon again, Monte. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you guys for having me on. See you later.
Thanks, Monte.
I mean, a year since the epic showdown.
Yeah. And what's funny? I got to be honest. One thing, Nick Saban's got much bigger problems than Jimbo Fisher now.
Well, the quarterback situation. Oh, Georgia.
Yeah, I mean both. I know Monte happens to like Tyler Buchner, but Tyler Buchner, why'd you bring Tommy Rees in from Notre Dame? You had all these offensive geniuses at offensive coordinator for so many years. What did Tommy Rees do at Notre Dame? That's what I'm curious about, where this is headed with Alabama.
Well, I thought what was interesting is that even when Tommy Rees was still at Notre Dame, he was recruiting over Tyler Buchner. So now all of a sudden he's in Alabama, and now he's bringing Buchner. It's like, oh, you guys, this smells a little desperate. Now it could end up working out perfectly and great, and that might all be a footnote in history, but that's what it looks like right now.
Yeah, I wonder, because Notre Dame was not sort of a spread offense, if Nick Saban wants to go old school and just start running the ball again, and he brought in sort of a low-octane offensive coordinator. Because remember, he won a lot of titles without anybody at quarterback, and then he didn't win with Bryce Young being that awesome. So who knows? I like old school. Saban's got to go out of his career with smash mouth football, just run the ball, get Greg McElroy in a quarterback, and go for it.
Yeah, just Derrick Henry back into the fold.
Yes, that I think that is Nick Saban's preferred style of football. I don't think he likes all this NIL and all this spread offense and all this transfer portal stuff. And Dabo hates the transfer. You know these guys don't like any of this stuff. Can we just be honest about it?
Jimbo likes it.
Well, all the good coaches.
855-212-4CBS. Kind of earned that one. 855-212-4227. But he's won a national title too. I should say Jimbo Fisher. He's got a crystal football.
No. He does. But you know what I mean. The guys who have had a lot of success in the previous era, I think they're going to have trouble adjusting to this. I think that's common sense, right?
855-212-4CBS. If you'd like to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can do it. If you are watching the show, please, we beg you, hit subscribe. We are getting closer to our goal, 1,000 new YouTube subscribers by the end of the NBA Finals, and we destroy the Carson Wentz poster that is behind Perloff. And should we tell people now or should we wait about the twist we're going to have with the Wentz poster? Okay. Stu said tease it.
Okay.
Listen, Stu's running this ship. I'm just doing what Stu says. Okay? Stu's the pilot here. We're co-pilot, right?
Yeah, and also I don't remember which twist you're talking about, so we need to reconvene here.
Yeah.
Get our ducks in a row.
Yeah. We're going to get
our advice ducks in a row.
Get on the same page. It's big, though. Perloff might not remember it, but it's very big. Very important to the show. 855-212-4CBS. Also coming up, Micah Parsons. Amazing football player. But is he bad luck? Get to that after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
And it's brought to you by HelloFresh. Shake up dinner time with HelloFresh with 40 weekly recipe options. There's always something new to try. Get 16 free meals plus free shipping with code 16 or skate16 at HelloFresh.com/skate16. The Western Conference Finals continue tonight in Denver, which looks to go up 2-0 on the Lakers after winning yet again at home. Now a perfect 7-0 in the postseason. The Eastern Conference Finals of the Stanley Cup playoffs begin tonight with the Hurricanes hosting the Florida Panthers. Baseball today, the Angels hold off the Orioles 6-5, getting home runs from Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, while Adley Rutschman went deep for Baltimore, his 7th, Anthony Santander with his 7th as well. Cleveland topped the White Sox 3-1. Mets take 2 of 3 from the Rays, winning the finale today by a score of 3-2. Pete Alonso with his 16th home run, and it was Miami over Washington by a score of 5-3. The PGA Championship right now, Bryson DeChambeau, your leader at 4 under par, 1 shot better than Scotty Scheffler and Corey Connors. I'm Rich Ackerman.
We are CBS Sports Radio, and our Twitter handle is @CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Perloff's fave. Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. So glad to have you. Okay, if you missed our interview with Monte Burke, who wrote the book, Saban, The Making of a Coach, deep dives on what's in store for Alabama this year with the uncertain quarterback situation. It is a year to the day since Saban and Jimbo Fisher had their war of words back and forth, which was just epic. Apparently, according to Monte, there's a book coming out just about this, which makes me wish I had wrote it.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of cool things. You can always download and subscribe to the Maggie and Perloff podcast. We did mention a big thing. I got a lot of things I got to pay off here. Okay, let's get our house in order. If you want to watch the show, you can always do it. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Now, one thing that comes along with everyone being able to watch the show is that you can see our studio and you can comment on things that our studio is decorated with. Behind Perloff is a blown-up Sports Illustrated cover from the year 2016 of Carson Wentz in the Eagles uniform. And everyone thought this is like bad juju for the show. You know, Carson Wentz, like he doesn't deserve this kind of billing in our studio. So we thought, let's destroy the poster. We're going to destroy it live on our air. However, there's a caveat. We need 1,000 new subscribers to our YouTube channel, and then we will destroy the Carson Wentz poster. Okay. It's been going really well. Everyone's really stepped up. But we need even more. So Perloff and I have decided we are going to put our money where our mouth is when it comes to the Carson Wentz poster. So here's what's up. If we can get 100 new subscribers before tomorrow at the end of the show, so tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, Perloff and I are going to donate to the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley. Where is that? Fargo, North Dakota. We're going to donate to the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley if we can get 100 new YouTube subscribers by tomorrow. And if this goes well, we'll keep donating to charity in places where Carson Wentz has played.
Okay, so what are our options? He's played in North Dakota. He's played Philadelphia, obviously.
Yeah.
Plenty of charities there.
Yep.
Indianapolis.
Sure.
Does Washington really count?
We will do it if we can get more YouTube subscribers. So we want to balance out the universe here. We feel like karma should balance out. If we're going to destroy the Wentz poster, we're asking people to subscribe. We should probably be giving back to charity and kind of balancing out. Because we don't hate Carson Wentz. We just think he's kind of bad mojo for the show. So we're going to balance the universe out by donating to charity. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. If we get 100 subscribers by the end of tomorrow's show, we are donating to the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley.
Yes. So I am just thrilled about the fact that the Fargo Boys and Girls Club is called Red River Valley.
Yeah.
Because I grew up with the classic country song, Red River Valley, which I did not know was about Fargo, North Dakota until now. And I believe it's about Fargo. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's
you
a
remember
great
this song?
No.
It's from like 1936 or something. But no, it's really
Should
old.
I know this song? It's a nice song. Feels like it should be played out of like an old-timey record player. What were those things called? Sonophone or something?
Yeah, it's been covered by, 40 or 50. Slim Whitman most famously sang it. I don't know if it was his song. Huge song.
All right.
I really relate to the lyrics, too.
Are we just going to play the song?
I guess we did.
Okay.
But that's a great cause.
Yes.
I don't want the poster to go anywhere. I want people to subscribe to the YouTube page, but I think Carson Wentz deserves to hang in our studio. I think he is underrated.
Ooh.
Now, underrated because I know how lowly you rate him. That is
Underrated. He went second overall in the draft. I mean, some high expectations for this guy.
You ranked him 312 out of 32 NFL quarterbacks. So that's where
I was an approximation.
You had some numbers to back it up, too. I remember that day very well.
Yeah, I do my research.
Yeah, I mean, he's not great, but I mean, I think you're painting him as if he's Zach Wilson. So I think this poster deserves to say. And if you disagree with me, then fine. Subscribe to YouTube. See if I care.
Okay. Well, we want to balance things out in the universe. Perloff and I we need our worlds to be kind of even. So if we're going to destroy a Wentz poster and we're asking people to subscribe, we should also be donating to charities in places where Wentz played. So if we get 100 subscribers by the end of the show tomorrow, YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio, we are donating to the Boys and Girls Club, the Red River Valley. Largen Parks is in the chat, says the song's about Texas.
Oh. I read today that there was a...
So there's that.
All right.
Ricky R. just subscribed. Let's get that poster gone. There we go, Ricky. That's what I'm talking about.
So I was reading a piece about the Red River Valley runs from Texas to North Dakota, and that the true story of the song had something to do with Fargo. Now, I could be wrong, but we can find out what's going on there.
Okay. Looks like we're going to need an even deeper dive. Let's go to Michael, who's in Ohio. Now, Michael wants to respond to something I said earlier in the show, which is I believe if the Raiders start 1-4 or thereabouts, I think that Davante Adams is going to ask for a trade. Michael, what do you think about the Raiders?
Hold on, guys. I'm about to hit the subscribe button.
There, my man. Yes.
Huge Raiders fan, even though I'm in Ohio. Been a Raiders fan my whole life. I think that I figured out what they are going to do when Garoppolo goes down, because chances are he most likely will at some point in the season.
Sure.
I think that Mark Davis is going to turn to his right and look at Tom Brady and hand him a black and silver suitcase with a 12 on it and say, go do your thing.
Michael, I love it. It's
that's
inspired.
Right up Maggie's wheelhouse.
You are speaking my language here,
there,
pal. Yeah, thank you. Do you want to co-host the show one day when Perloff's out? No, you are right on my wheelhouse. I'm looking for a team for Tom Brady at all times.
If there was somebody who sat in this chair who would let you indulge your sports conspiracy theories, the show would be in big trouble. So if you would have a check and balance on that particular bent of yours, that would be really bad.
All of a sudden, just like an unmarked van pulls up, pulls me into it, goes away. You've never seen me ever again. The Brady to the Raiders thing. Now, so did he actually invest yet?
No, I think he was planning to.
Okay, so Brady bought into the Las Vegas Aces, the WNBA team that Mark Davis also owns. And there was the report that he wants to buy into the Raiders. If he buys into the Raiders, I think that really complicates things. You can't be a part owner and player.
No.
Right.
Jordan, I think, part owned the Wizards. Then he jumped out of the ownership group to play, right?
Yes.
So maybe Brady could do that.
Divest himself.
But it's also the fact that he's 46 and the team is average, that the odds of him jumping into a black and silver uniform are slim. But I won't let that get in your and Michael's way.
No, please don't ruin our parade. I rain on it.
Who's the guy in the chat who said the Red River Valley was about Texas?
It was Largent Parks, who won the Pearl Jam season.
Can I read a little history here about the song Red River Valley? Because we're going to donate to the Red River Valley Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
There's two major Red River Valleys in the country, the South and the North. It is to the north that the origins of the Red River Valley song lead. The famed Canadian folklorist Edith Falk, you know Edith.
I ain't.
Gave mostly anecdotal evidence the song was known in at least 5 Canadian provinces prior to 1896. So it comes from Canada.
Wow. That song came from... You could have given me a thousand guesses. Song. I wouldn't have said
that's what Edith Falk says. There are other people who claim it's from Texas, but that it was originally from Canada, from the Red River Valley of the North, which is where we're donating.
Wait, hold on one second. We're talking about a folk song, and the person who says this is last name Folk? That sounds made up. That's like calling,
The famed Canadian folklorist Edith Fowke. How do you pronounce that?
F-O-W.
What was the closer's name?
Folk?
Keith Folk. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought it was like Folk, like, your name would be Perloff, Andrew Philadelphia or something.
F-O-W-K.
It's like two on the nose.
Edith Folk.
It's like having a dentist named Dentist or something. I don't know. It's like too spot on.
No. It's like one of those football names that fits perfectly, like Michael Stonebreaker, the linebacker. Give me a good one. There's famous ones.
I mean, like...
Mike Quick was fast, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was someone named Steele.
Oh.
The first name, Steele DeVito or something like that.
We have to know. Sports last names that sound like the thing that they do well.
Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good one. That's really good.
He is
Clyde
really
Frazier has a field day with those.
Oh, I'm sure he loves that.
Can you do a Clyde Frazier impersonation, EJ?
Oh, Jesus, on the fly. Winning, spinning and winning. Randall in the lane.
Styling and profiling into the lane, which makes no sense.
The one is he's swishing and dishing and transition.
Yes, huffing and puffing.
That's a speed.
He will use the verb to profile in the weirdest ways. Profiling to the left.
Largent. Yeah. Largent. Wow, Andrew nailed me. I need a nurse.
Actually, I don't even know if this is true. I mean, there's lots of different versions of this. How we got to this is just we want to do a good deed. We don't want to argue here.
Yes.
We want this terrible idea to destroy the Carson Wentz poster to do some good for the world.
That's why we need your help. If we get 100 new subscribers, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, by tomorrow at the end of the show, Perloff and I donate our own money to the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley. That's in Fargo, North Dakota, where Carson Wentz played college football. Eventually, we hope to get to a point where the Carson Wentz poster behind Perloff is destroyed. Everyone got that? There we go. Kinda, sorta. Coming up, what's at stake for the Lakers tonight in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals? Get to that in just a moment. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
been on vacation. And do you remember how headphones work, Maggie? I'm just curious here. Are you concussed right now? What just happened?
Oh, we caught on the live stream. Great. I'm like literally crying.
It looked like you were putting on your headphones and one flipped out your ear and hit you in the face. Are you okay?
No, my eyes are like tearing because I hit myself in the face with the headphones. We'll find it and we'll put it out on social media.
Is it going to be a situation where you're going to have a black eye tomorrow and everyone's going to think you're making it? I was trying to put on my headphones.
Yeah, right. That's a bad excuse. Like something's going on at home. No, everything's fine.
Luckily, we have it on the live stream, so we don't have to worry about it.
My eyes, it's pretty bad, right? Getting hit in the face with the headphones.
No.
I know.
Do you need some ice? Do you want us to run and get you some ice?
No, I don't want anything. I want to hear this Kawhi Leonard theory.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Who says there's no hazards of doing this job? We're putting our lives and bodies on the line every single day. Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. It's Thursday. We're across the country on CBS Sports Radio. Want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Okay. We talked a lot about Heat Celtics already today. If you missed it, you can always download our podcast, subscribe. We got a big game tonight. Lakers Nuggets, game 2 in Denver, obviously. Lakers dropped game 1. I thought this did not bode well for the Lakers to lose game 1. They came back. They tried to put their best punch to the Nuggets. They pulled within 3 points in the fourth quarter. The Nuggets stared it down, still won the game. Let's be honest. I'm not going to overuse the sports talk radio cliche of must-win game, but I don't think anyone in their mind thinks that the Lakers can drop tonight's game and somehow come back and win the series.
You're saying must-win game.
I mean, I'm saying it without saying it.
You hate saying must-win game because there's only one kind of must-win game, and that's a game 7.
Of course. So I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you, and you can tell me if you think the same way. I don't see how the Lakers go down 0-2 and come back against this Nuggets team.
Our buddy Dave Damashek loves calling game 7s must-win games. That's like his original joke.
No, Dave Damashek, who's a comedian and former late-night writer, goes to the Super Bowl every year and asks all the people, is this a must-win game?
Yeah, that's great.
It kills every time. He's been doing it for years, and it's still so funny.
No, realistically, I don't think it's a must-win game. Because it's a 7-game series and you have to get to 4. No, I'm just kidding.
For the Lakers.
No, I'll tell you why. Because they do fall behind 2-0.
Yeah.
You're going to need the Nuggets bench players to hit a lot of shots. And I think the Lakers bench is actually better than the Nuggets bench. They get to LA. Okay, 2-0. We saw Golden State do this too. You can, I think that if it becomes a series where the Lakers win 2 in LA, that's fine. I don't think it's done if it's 2-0. Wow. Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not good. But I do feel you and I have one different view. You think if the series gets longer, that's a big advantage to the Nuggets.
I do.
Because of the minutes for LeBron. And I totally get that.
And Anthony Davis.
I just think if the Lakers can if they can force a game 7, even with Denver, even with all the minutes and the high altitude, to stare down LeBron James.
Yeah.
Who's been in a lot of these experiences where the Nuggets hasn't. I think that's a tall task. So I think the Lakers down 2-0, just push it, and eventually the Nuggets will realize what they're up against. What they're up against, they'll say, "Wow, I'm about to beat LeBron James in Game 7." That's tough.
Okay, but my theory is if they lose tonight, there's no Game 7.
Well, I hear you. I hear you. No, it's likely.
Then you don't get the LeBron James intimidation factor. You don't get the staring down history. You don't get any of that because it's going to be over fast.
All they have to do is win Game 3, and it's a series again, though.
See, I actually think that you get the Nuggets kind of, and I'm going to use this term, going downhill, if you will, and look at what happened with the Suns. I know the Suns were a very flawed team. They were very injured, didn't have nearly the depth that the Lakers have, but once they got down 2 games, there was no coming back from that.
Okay, but the Lakers are undefeated at home in the playoffs. The Nuggets are undefeated at home in the playoffs. So maybe it plays home and home. And then gets longer, which is not ideal for the Lakers. Winning tonight would be ideal to make it more even, but it could play out a lot of home until if they do hold court at home, then you go into a Game 7.
It is really interesting, though. You think that the longer this series goes, the more the Nuggets might start to second-guess themselves, question themselves, and I think the longer this goes, the more likely it is that the Lakers just run out of steam, run out of gas, or get hurt.
Now, listen, it's hard to argue with that logic because Anthony Davis, if he has to he has to score 40 points 6 games in a row, he is going to break down completely.
Yeah.
I just think the mental pressure, they have to play loose. I already saw it. At the end of the game, you saw the Nuggets start to get nervous. You saw, one guy in particular,
turnovers.
Michael Porter, does not seem like he's necessarily ready for so much talent, but I don't know if he's ready for this moment. Jamal Murray so far has been. Joker so far has been.
Well, it's like, who's the guy who's been there is actually like Contavious Caldwell-Pope.
It's not amazing.
Yeah, but that's not exactly like having, like a grizzled vet,
Yeah, well, he's actually been up there. Right. I know what you mean. So I think that eventually, like, the Nuggets might get tight. That's what I would be hoping for as a Lakers fan. Then again, the Lakers comeback encouraged me. I think they have a great chance in this game. I think if they can figure out that switch to put Rui Hachimura on Jokic and had Davis roaming the baseline to play better defense, if they can slow down the Joker, which is impossible, by the way, but if they can do that, then they have a great chance.
It was funny. We were talking to Jovan Buha yesterday, who's the Lakers beat writer for The Athletic, and he said that the Lakers did not want to do the Rui Hachimura adjustment until much later in the series. That was going to be like their sort of secret weapon ace up the sleeve, but they found themselves down 21 points and was like, well, we got to do something. Well, and it almost worked.
I don't understand. If it's their secret weapon, why not start out game one of the series with it the whole time?
I don't know. Instead, they started Schroeder, and they decided to go small. It ended up being a huge mistake.
Schroeder's not good defensively. But then again, he'll probably get hot one of these games and win a game for the Lakers. Well, this series I expect it to go longer. I don't think it's going to be a sweep or anything like that.
You asked a good question there. Like, if Hachimura on Jokic was supposed to be the secret weapon, why not just make that the plan, right? Why does that have to be plan B?
Why not build the whole plane out of the black box?
Right.
That theory.
Well, that's almost like Darvin Ham as a rookie coach. Are you overthinking this a little bit, right? Where you're waiting for your adjustment because you're anticipating this is going to be a long series when it was staring you in the face the whole time.
Maybe. I mean, first of all,
I have no idea.
Jovan was saying that. It's not definitely. He doesn't know for sure what the mindset was. And Darvin Ham has made all the right moves. So
he has done a great job.
Even in that Nuggets game, game one, he made a lot of adjustments. You saw a different team after halftime. So he's got more toys to play with in Denver. Denver is not very deep. At least they have not been deep so far. So I think the Lakers, they just have more guys right now because you could expect a big game out of Reeves. He seems like he's now automatic. You can get a big game out of Rui, Anthony Davis, LeBron, either Schroeder or somebody else. D'Angelo Russell is going to step up. So there's reasons to think the Lakers can hang with him here. Now, you know what's not good? When Joker is shooting 100% from three-point line.
Literally.
Yeah, and if Michael Porter Jr. gets hot, then it's over. But I don't think that's going to happen.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Our pal Nick in Texas in the chat. Lakers and Celtics will meet in the finals. Lakers win the Western Conference Finals in 6 games. Celtics win the Eastern Conference Finals, goes 7. Then the Lakers win the finals in 7. It's a lot of basketball, and that's betting on 2 teams that are currently down 0-1.
Yeah, I looked at the odds, though, and the Celtics are still a heavy favorite over the Heat, which I find kind of surprising. And the Lakers are still really in it. So I think Vegas is like that. I think they think that everyone overreacts to game one. Because the Sixers beat the Celtics in game one. James Harden scored 45 points, and Sixers fans were on top of the world. And then Joel came back, and it all fell apart. Then it all fell apart. So, yeah, I felt that way last night, too. I was watching the Heat game, and I'm like, these shots cannot fall. People are killing me on Twitter saying I'm too old school and I want the Lakers and Celtics to advance. That's not true. These are not my favorite teams. I'm a Sixers fan. I can't stand the Celtics. But it just did strike me. That hot shooting is not sustainable. Everything was going in last night for Miami. Everything.
Yeah, they've had listen, they have games like that.
Yeah.
Ask EJ. Just watched it with the Heat playing his Knicks. I'm glad you mentioned fandom, though.
Yeah.
Because I was a little surprised when Micah Parsons, obviously standout edge rusher, linebacker, or whatever, it doesn't matter. Just amazing defensive player for the Cowboys. Do it all. When he showed up in Philly and he was wearing the Tyrese Maxey jersey, I was like, ooh, this could maybe Cowboy fans might feel a certain way about this because, it's not the same sport, but the Cowboys and the Eagles have such a big rivalry. Now you're going to support a Philly team, and you talked me out of it. You're like, Maggie, you're crazy. He can be a fan of whoever he wants. He's from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Might have grown up a big 76ers fan. Okay, I'll give you that. Well. What do we see last night? Micah Parsons, who a week ago was in a 76ers jersey, now in Boston, wearing a Tatum jersey? sitting in the second row. So now all of a sudden he's a Celtics fan. What are we doing here, guys? This is just too much. Was he Drake? You don't get to do that. You don't get to bandwagon. You can't be supporting the Sixers, and then they lose in an epic Game 7, crash and burn. Sorry, Perloff. And now you're going to jump on the bandwagon of the winning team. That's weak sauce. That's not real fandom.
But he's not, first of all, he's obviously not a real fan.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's obviously not a real fan. Yeah, said it.
Did you see, there's 2 other teams that he's expressed serious fandom for. Did you see that? He's tweets about the Golden State Warriors as we need to do this, we need to do that.
Well, I can't believe this guy.
And then he's got another team. It might be the Lakers. I'm sorry.
That's impossible.
You guys find,
Dead giveaway.
What's his 4th team? He's got a 4th team.
You can't be a Warriors and a Lakers fan. That's insane.
Well, maybe he knew he upset Dallas fans by going Philly, so he just wants to prove, hey, it's not about the name on the front of the jersey. It's on the name in the back of the jersey, and these are my friends, and I'm going to support my individual friends and not the team. So he was trying to water down the Philly jersey thing by wearing the Boston jersey. So nobody in Dallas could be like, oh, you're a Philly fan. What's the best way to get out of that? Just wear a Celtics uniform.
All right. Sure.
Me and Micah Parsons, we're a level ahead, Maggie.
Man, how Gen Z is that? You know, it's like now I'm just a fan of the individual players, like not a team. Like, oh my gosh,
I'm 100,000% like that, and you know I'm like that.
I'm rooting for laundry. I don't care.
Why?
Because it's
nobody.
My
The
team.
players don't care about the laundry. Why do you care about the laundry?
Because I still think there's something about rooting for a team, and yes, I like individual players, sure, but my teams are my teams.
Right.
I like my teams because it makes me feel part of their community. You know. This is a part of my identity, who I am. I grew up rooting for these teams. I know I don't care if that sounds childish coming out of my mouth right now, but that's what I like.
Okay, well, let me put some hypotheticals to you then.
Yeah.
Say you were a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
I know that's hard for you to do as a Bills fan.
Blah.
And Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. Would your fandom have followed Tom Brady?
I mean, I'm with him 20 years, and it's a different conference. I can still be rooting for Brady. But what
so there are exceptions.
But what Micah Parsons is doing is he's wearing a Maxey jersey and then he's wearing a Tatum jersey. No, this is like people. That's breaking all fan rules.
So what if you followed a guy in college and he went to the Dolphins, one of the rivals of the Bills?
Yeah.
But he went to your college and you loved him.
Here's what you do.
You can't root for him to be good?
Monitoring from afar.
Yep.
Wishing him the best. Still rooting for my team. Wishing him the best, but it doesn't get in the way of interfering with rooting for my team.
Okay. I am 100% all in on Deuce Vaughn this year, the Cowboys rookie running back.
I know. Easy to root for.
I hope he runs for 4 touchdowns against my Eagles.
Oh, you are the worst.
I do. I absolutely do.
Why don't you want him to run for 4 touchdowns against the, Chiefs?
I do, but I let me finish.
Okay.
I want them to lose 35-28.
Yeah. See,
but I want Deuce to torch the Eagles because I want Deuce to do well.
I know, but you're making it. You're trying to get too cute.
Okay. I have one game that's going to be very, very tough for me as a fan this year.
What do you got?
On October 29th, the Texans and the Panthers square off.
Oh, this is rough for you.
So it could be Bryce Young versus C.J. Stroud, but we know Bryce Young.
But more likely,
both will be injured and their backups will be in. Case Keenum versus Andy Dalton.
You know what? This is like your Donna Kelsey moment. It's like you got two. It's like your 2 sons here. You know, you got to get the jersey that's split down the middle.
Yeah.
When you've written books with both guys, I mean, you can't choose.
Andy has no interest in writing a book. I've tried.
Yeah.
Maybe he is, not with me anyway. But I will definitely. We have to do the show in Charlotte that week because that's the Perloff Bowl. Keenum versus Dalton.
You know what? I think both of those guys would also say yes. It is the Perloff Bowl. There's no one. Your fandom with these two, forgive me, they're friends, but 2 sort of random quarterbacks.
Yeah. No,
this is all you.
No, it was I just happened to do their draft profiles for Sports Illustrated and became friendly with both of them.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it worked. No, I definitely, there are players that I root for. There's times that I have friends who work for teams, so I root for those teams, like front office people.
Yeah, but not against your team. That's where you lose me.
But it doesn't bother me if it's a regular season game. In the playoffs, yes, I want the Eagles to advance, but I do understand rooting for individuals. Is that so weak? It's very Gen Z of you.
I will say this as someone who had someone very close to me that worked for an NFL team. When they played the Jets this year, I rooted for the Jets.
Bragging rights.
Oh, dude, that's family, though.
Yeah, but there was family with a team that was playing the Jets.
Well, here's the thing, though. The person who is in your inner circle, who works for the other team, their job doesn't depend on wins and losses.
That is true.
Right. So that's a good thing.
Okay, so I wrote the book with Case Keenum and the Minneapolis Miracle after that. It was a lot of fun. One of the great experiences of my life. I love Case. I rooted so hard every game because book sales depended on how the Broncos did. And the Broncos started out 3-1. Everything's looking great. I'm like, this is going to be a bestseller. Then they're leading, and Patrick Mahomes throws a left-handed pass 20 yards down the field on 3rd and 30, and somebody runs. And then there's last second of the play, Demaryius Thomas starts to slow down, misses the touchdown. Anyway, so I actually had financial incentive for a Case to win games.
Okay.
So in that case,
I see where you're going there.
Yeah, and also
the Minneapolis Miracle, that was Case in Minnesota, and then he went to
signed
Denver
with the Broncos
the next year.
Yeah. So I had financial incentive. I mean, let's face it, a lot of people face this reality for real. When you have a fantasy football player going against your team, when you have financial reasons.
Okay, Micah Parsons has there's no financial stake here.
Yeah,
he was just in Philly pretending to be a Sixers fan, and now he's in Boston pretending to be a Celtics fan, and we can't just let him slide on this.
You know what he said? He tweeted today, somebody pointed out, you've rooted for 4 different NBA teams now, and he laughed. He goes, okay, I promise I will pick one next year.
Sure. Not happening.
But by the way, he did promise he'd pick the Dallas Mavericks, which I find interesting.
It's like the Mavericks, I don't even think became a consideration.
I never hear you ripping your guy LeBron. He roots for about 7 different teams.
LeBron, we all know Browns, what he's up to, you know?
That whole Browns versus Cowboys thing, what's going on there?
I don't know.
And all of a sudden, he's a Yankees fan.
But he's rooting for Cleveland in the World Series.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense, and it bothers me a lot. But all I can do is use the power of the microphone to try to call attention to this hypocrisy. 855-212-4CBS.
You better hope your Micah Parsons isn't chasing after your quarterback. That could be a much bigger problem.
Yeah, they do play this year, so that's going to be an issue. Okay.
You're not going to care what jersey he's wearing when Josh Allen's lying on the ground in a heap.
Oh, please, no. Okay, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. That's where we need you to go. We need you to hit subscribe, and we're going to tell you why. We're trying to give back a little to the universe. We realize we've been asking for a lot. We've been asking for you to subscribe to our YouTube page. If we get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the finals, we're going to destroy the Carson Wentz poster live on the air. However, we realize if we're going to ask for something, we should also give something. So if you hit subscribe, and if we get 100 new subscribers by the end of the show tomorrow, Perloff and I are donating to the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley in Fargo, North Dakota.
Yep.
That's where Carson Wentz played college football. So if we're going to taketh and destroy the poster, we also need to giveth. We got to balance out our universe here, and we will make a donation to the Boys and Girls Club.
I think we make sort of a quiet, anonymous donation because I think they love Carson Wentz in Fargo. So let's not tell them why we're giving them the money.
Like on behalf of the Carson Wentz poster destruction project? We should not say that. We don't have to say that. We're giving it to them with a clean conscience. This is for you.
Okay. By the way, he's from Bismarck, I believe. I'm looking this up.
Okay.
How far is that from Fargo? I've never been to North Dakota.
Neither have I.
I really
bucket list though.
I'd love to go.
I've never been to either of the Dakotas.
Right. Well, Mount Rushmore's in South Dakota, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mount Rushmore's on the Mount Rushmore.
I knew you were going to say that. That is such a Perloff joke.
Yeah. So I'd be thrilled to help the Boys and Girls Club of Fargo.
So would I. Need your help. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Hit subscribe. If we get 100 new subscribers by the end of tomorrow's show, we're donating to the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley in Fargo, North Dakota. Okay, coming up, the one thing no one is talking about when it comes to young quarterbacks in the NFL. Get to that in just a moment. Plus your thoughts, Lakers Nuggets, game 2 tonight. If the Lakers go down 0-2, is the series over? I'm not calling it a must win. I'm just laying out what's going to happen. In so many words. 855-212-4227. Don't move. More Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
This is funny.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff. All right, Maggie, I need the numbers. Are we getting any closer to the figure we promised today for us to donate to the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley in Fargo, North Dakota?
Yeah, we're donating to the Boys and Girls Club if we get 100 new YouTube subscribers, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio by the end of the show tomorrow. Because if we're going to destroy the Carson Wentz poster, we also want to give back. You know, we shouldn't just take all the time. You know, we want to give. We're asking people to do something. We want to give back. So the Boys and Girls Club, the Red River Valley in Fargo, North Dakota, where Carson Wentz played college football, we're basically halfway to the goal. So we need you. The quicker we do this, the quicker the check goes to the Boys and Girls Club. And, of course, we're eternally grateful.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have mixed feelings about this because it is my Carson Wentz poster. And I guess destroying it is better than making me bring it back to my apartment. Because that's not happening.
You're the one who wanted it gone. We're going to just make it very gone.
Okay. Well,
Live
we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
That's
if people
true.
really want to see us destroy a Carson Wentz poster, you have to hit subscribe.
YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Okay. What's going on today? You got a couple weird situations. So right now, the PGA Championship is going on in Rochester, New York, which is my husband's hometown, a lovely place. Bryson DeChambeau is 4 under. He's done for today. You still got guys on the course because there was a frost delay earlier because upstate New York. So Bryson DeChambeau is the leader in the clubhouse at 4 under. Earlier today, though, Bryson DeChambeau hit somebody.
He's just been hit by an errant tee shot. Bryson DeChambeau was the player whose errant shot.
Bryson DeChambeau hit Kenny Pigman as Pigman was on the 18th tee. Just hit him right in the face. Okay, well, that would be weird. Like, that's a weird thing to happen. If we also didn't have this story, which is Zach Gallen, the pitcher, Perloff, pulled a Randy Johnson.
Zach Gallen was, he couldn't wait to tell everybody as he made his way back from throwing a side session here because he hit a bird. I'm an animal lover, so this hurts me, but in the spirit of Randy Johnson, I think you know where we're going with this. The bird is no longer with us. I know Zach Gallen took some time to recognize that, but he hit it with a curveball mid-air, mid-flight, and our cameras caught it.
I mean, what is going on out there? You got guys being hit with air and tee shots, pros, by the way, not just, duffers like me and Perloff. And then also, you've got Zach Gallen of the Arizona Diamondbacks hitting, unfortunately, killing a bird with a curveball, just like Randy Johnson did with a fastball for also the Arizona Diamondbacks. What is happening?
Yeah, it's funny. The DeChambeau, that kind of reminds me, every time I'm on a golf course, I'm panicked that I'm going to actually hit somebody in my foursome. My friend Dan Patrick has played a lot of these pro-ams, and he said the scariest thing is when you're not a professional golfer, when you tee off, the people on your right and your left are you better hit that thing straight or you're going to nail somebody right in the head.
Has he ever done that?
No, he hasn't. He said first of all, you're scared because you want to look like you're a good golfer. Second of all, in these pro-ams, it's much more dangerous because they're not Bryson DeChambeau. They're just sort of hackers.
Right.
Or Dan is actually a very good golfer, but he said it's terrifying the way you look at that.
There's like a tunnel of people.
That's why it's shocking that Bryson hit somebody. I actually have to see the shot. Was it way, way off course?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was like from far away, and it nailed the guy right in the head. It's bad enough his guy's name is Kenny Pigman. You think he's been living that down his whole life.
So
get hit in the face.
So I made my PGA pick this morning, three rounds in, I'm embarrassed to say. I picked Scott Scheffler. I don't call him Scotty. I call him Scott.
Oh, yeah? A little more serious?
Which is stupid because he was second in odds behind Rahm. So I got Cam Smith in the British Open, which is the last major of last year.
Yeah.
I completely nailed John Rahm this year. I told you about it 7,000 times. So now I'm on Scheffler. But the odds are now insane. Scheffler's at plus 225. Then at plus 11-1, basically, Hovland, DeChambeau, Cantley. So
wait a minute. Hold on. Back up.
Yeah.
When did you say you placed the bet?
So I placed it at like 10:30. And
when did the tournament start?
Basically, Scheffler was on his second hole. He was even. So do I get credit if this one goes right? He's a hole into the whole tournament. Who cares? And also, they got a slow start today because of the chill. Because you're upstate New York's insane.
Yeah, I know.
So I think I still get, first of all, I don't get that much credit because it's Scotty Scheffler and he's the best golfer in the world, basically.
Yeah, congrats. You picked the number 1 golfer, whatever he is, number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Rahm last time. Cam Smith was a good pick. But I think
you
I still
only picked Cam Smith because you wanted to do the accent.
I know.
And wear the wig.
Yeah. I also am very interested. I don't know why everyone is on Patrick Cantlay this year. So I almost picked him, but I'm going Scheffler. If I get 3 in a row here, that's an incredible stroke of luck that has never happened to me my entire
No
life.
pun intended. Stroke of luck. I think that, yes, okay, but technically the tournament had already started. Technically, if he had triple bogeyed the first hole, you probably wouldn't have made that bet, right?
Nope.
Okay, so
no. I'll be honest. Before I made the bet, the odds would have changed on him. It would have been already lowered because I was looking at DraftKings and I did this. You're right. If he was at +3 on the first hole,
I know. See, that's why I think this is null and void.
But why would Scotty Scheffler be at +3 on the first hole? He's not Rory. Oh, look at that dig there.
Jeez.
And also, too,
on Rory McIlroy.
You're going to eventually look at the tweet where I announced it, and it's just going to say today's date. So people are not even going to know when it is.
Yeah, but I'll know. And I'm here sitting next to you.
Okay, I need this money, Maggie, so I can donate it to the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, well, if you're going to donate to the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley, then I'm into it, which is where we are going to donate money if we get 100 subscribers by the end of tomorrow's show. That is Fargo, North Dakota, is where Carson Wentz played college football. Yeah. We're going to destroy the Carson Wentz poster that's in our studio, hopefully. So we're going to try to – this is like more for our conscience, I think.
Yeah.
If we're going to destroy the poster, we should also give back to the community.
This effort into something that is just really fun for us. Well, for you more. I admit I would enjoy it as well. By the way, if Bryson DeChambeau wins this thing, that's a wild scene because the dude's hitting people. He's such an unusual guy. I think that would be really –
He's a live guy, isn't he?
I believe he is.
Yeah.
He's just everything about him is unorthodox. That would be pretty fun. I mean, there are a lot of big names in the leaderboard. It's obviously one day and it doesn't mean much. But I also now I'm going to be watching to see if he hits anybody. This is great.
It's like added an extra layer, an extra element here. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, we got to get you some sound. We'll do that in just a moment. The one thing no one is talking about when it comes to these young quarterbacks in the NFL, one former quarterback laid this out perfectly. You're going to hear it, and it's going to make you think twice about certain teams. Chicago, teams like Houston, teams like the New York Jets. You're going to think differently about them once you hear this. We'll get it to you right after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Well, the Lakers have had a tremendous run lately, but ran into the top seed in Denver Wednesday and look to bounce back tonight in Game 2 after dropping the series opener. But will be a big challenge with Denver 7-0 at home in the postseason. The Stanley Cup playoffs resume tonight. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Panthers and Hurricanes in Raleigh. First round of the PGA Championship, and right now, Bryson DeChambeau is your leader at 4 under par, one shot better than Scotty Scheffler and Corey Connors. It has been a very tough start for the Masters champ Jon Rahm, who is 6 over for today. Rory McIlroy 1 over as well. Baseball today, the Angels top the Orioles 6-5. Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani with home runs in the victory. While bottom of the ninth, Cleveland leads the White Sox by a score of 3-1. The Mets top Tampa Bay 3-2. Pete Alonso with his 16th home run of the season in that one, and Miami a winner over Washington by a score of 5-3. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Looking for CBS Sports Radio online? Your favorite hosts and the best sports content and entertainment are available 24/7 on social media and YouTube, and in the palm of your hand with the free Odyssey app.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. CBS Sports Radio, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. We're asking you to help us. If you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, if we get 100 new subscribers by the end of the show tomorrow, we are donating to the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley. That is in Fargo, North Dakota. We're trying to get to our bigger goal of destroying the Carson Wentz poster that's behind Perloff right now if you're watching the show on YouTube. But if we're going to ask, we also want to give something, which is why we're putting a charitable component on. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can go and hit subscribe. We'd be so grateful. David is in North Carolina. David, have you subscribed?
No, I can't because I have a job and I can't watch YouTube while I'm working.
It's okay. You can subscribe when you get home from work. It still counts.
However,
okay,
I will voluntarily match the donation of $100 if you destroy the Carson Wentz poster regardless on tomorrow's show.
David, that is enticing. That is such a generous offer.
He's such a bum, and he's a whiny little turd, and he has no business being in the NFL.
Well, here's the thing. Man, we appreciate that offer, and we really got to think hard about it. But we're trying to get to our bigger goal of 1,000 new subscribers by the end of the NBA Finals. But we do want to add this charitable component to it. David, thank you so much for the call. 100 subscribers by tomorrow, and Perloff and I will donate to the Boys and Girls Club in Fargo.
That was very generous.
That was really nice, though, of David.
But no, I'm gonna make everyone earn the destruction of the Carson Wentz poster. It's my poster, and I'm not giving it up by tomorrow. You're gonna have, unless you get 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, by tomorrow. I mean, that's
so possible. I mean, let's not rule out anything, but I will gladly give to the Boys and Girls Club. That I'm down with, but we better get to 1,000, because if we don't do that, that thing is staying up there forever, Maggie.
Come on, guys. We can do this. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Hit subscribe. Okay, let's get to our Casamigos shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. We love us some Casamigos around here. Okay, today's shot of the day comes from earlier in the show. Andrew Perloff trying to find, what was this? Athlete names that sound like the sport they compete in. We're talking about a folk song, and the person who says this is last name Folk. That sounds made up. That's like calling,
the famed Canadian folklorist Edith Fowke.
Folk, like, your name would be Perloff, Andrew Philadelphia or something. It's like too on the nose.
Edith Folk.
It's like having a dentist named Dentist or something. I don't know. It's like too spot on.
No, it's like one of those football names that fits perfectly, like Michael Stonebreaker, the linebacker. Give me a good one. There's famous ones. Mike Quick was fast, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was someone named Steele.
Oh.
The first name, Steele DeVito or something like that.
We have to know. Sports last names that sound like the thing that they do well.
Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good one. That's really good.
He is
Clyde
really
Frazier has a field day with those.
Oh, I'm sure he loves that. EJ with the voice of an angel just coming in. Emmanuel Quickly. Okay, we've got some more for you. So we've got to do a little research here. For NFL players, it was right there under our nose, Perloff. Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
I've heard a lot of these names in the past, and I've never heard anyone give Kenneth Gainwell. That's brilliant.
How about Ryan Longwell, the place kicker?
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Chuck Long as a quarterback. Willie Thrower was also an NFL quarterback. If we want to go, so we got the PGA going on right now. Gary Player. People are saying Tiger Woods is one of them. Like you get it. Baseball has some good ones because they always do. Thomas Diamond.
Who's that?
Right on the nose. He played for the Cubs in the 2010s. Homer Bailey, Homer Bush. Both of those guys. Cecil Fielder. We should have gotten that one.
Ooh.
There was a guy in the 80s named Bob Walk.
Wait, was that
Raleigh Fingers?
Bob Walk might have been a Phillies pitcher.
It looks like the Pirates. Grant Balfour. It's Australian.
That's great.
And then track and field, Usain Bolt was right there under our noses. Didn't get that. Nathan Leeper was a high jumper. Competed in the 2000 Olympic Games. So there you go.
Bob Walk won the World Series in 1980 with the Philadelphia Phillies. There you go.
Okay. Margaret Court in tennis.
Here's someone, I see a good one. Russell Wilson, because Russell and Wilson both make footballs. And he throws footballs. That one is totally random and doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but I like that.
Dodgers outfielder James Outman.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I mean.
Another good one. Some of these things are translated. Like, apparently, Zadrunas Ilgauskas, his last name translates to long. It's like Lithuanian. Long. I didn't know Derek Jeter, that Jeter is French for to throw. Eric Gagne, apparently, Gagne is French for win.
Okay.
There you go. Did we do that enough?
It's got some others here. Whitney Merciless, the linebacker.
That
people got that a lot.
Yeah.
There was, I think he was a backup quarterback. Remember David Fales? That was not
How about
a good
David Blow?
Yeah.
Like for the Lions, right?
Wasn't there a kicker named Blewett?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Blewett.
That's the one that we always talk about. Like, how can that guy's name be Blewett? He was pretty good, too. And then there was Max Strong. I was like that one.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
I'm mad I forgot about DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Oh, yeah. Would have been good for a basketball player.
Yeah. Well, it was good for, offensive lineman.
That's true. And he was an excellent one. Okay. Maggie and Perloff, 855-2124-CBS if you want to get involved.
By the way, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Keegan-Michael Key told us on Dan Patrick Show, that was the genesis of the Hingle-McCringleberry skit. Because Jordan Peele couldn't believe there was someone named DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Yeah.
And Keegan-Michael Key says, like, oh, you have no idea. And then went from there. Because DeBrickashaw is not a very common name.
No, I mean, and actually, DeBrickashaw Ferguson ended up being on the offensive line that was on the Jets when Brett Favre came to New York.
There you go.
Him and our buddy Nick Mangold were both on that line for a long, long time. Okay. We got a couple things. Number one, we thought this was kind of interesting. We've seen this sometimes with athletes where they get sort of obsessed with like watching the same thing before a game. Like the same movie or the same TV show.
Actually, I'm not so familiar with this. Is this something I know, like they play songs? So there are guys who watch the same movie to get fired up, like Hoosiers or something?
So here's Joe Mazzulla, the Celtics basketball coach, obviously. Maggie. Celtics coach on what he watches 4 times a week.
He's obsessed with the movie The Town, watches it 4 times a week. How does that relate to the Celtics?
I mean, it's just a mindset, a Boston mindset.
That's what it is?
Mindset, yeah.
So you're saying if you have the Town mindset,
we'll be in good shape.
We'll be in good shape.
I don't get that at all.
The bank robbery?
Yeah, I mean, they all died at the end, except for Ben Affleck, who escaped. Yeah, well, they didn't all. Jeremy Renner's character died. It seemed like everything that could go wrong went wrong for them, much like this Heat Celtics series is playing out.
No.
So if they lose, is the town the reason why?
Oh, my gosh. I remember reading Steve Young wrote a memoir that he used to watch the movie City Slickers 2 on repeat before games.
That can't be true.
I promise you. How could I ever make that up?
The Legend of Curly's Gold?
Yes. I think it kind of calmed him down.
It's such a... Oh, no. I know why you brought that up.
No, that's not a sequel that I like.
Well, you do like controversial comedy sequels that happen to come out when you were 9 years old. And
this one would fit the bill.
You have a crazy memory of actually liking Caddyshack 2, but that was a classic example of when you take a great comedy and you make a sequel.
I think that the first one was definitely better with City Slickers. Although actually, no. The second one,
there's no discussion here, but yes.
The second one, I think, had John Lovitz in it. I think that might have been
That's
good.
a sign number one when your sequel is off the rails, when there's a major character that wasn't in the first one. And the fact that you're like, wait, John Lovitz was in it, because John Lovitz is in so many great movies. Do you love John Lovitz?
I do love John Lovitz.
I love John Lovitz. Nobody in our audience has no idea who that is at this point. EJ's probably never even heard of John Lovitz.
You never heard of John Lovitz?
Not at all. No clue.
Remember that character he played?
Wait, Stu, have you heard of John Lovitz?
I've heard of him, and I've let him in this building as a guest on his show once, so yes.
Had you not let him in the building, would you have known who he was?
Probably not.
Okay.
What's his famous Saturday Night Live character, off the top of your head?
He had a couple. One was about the Liars Anonymous.
Yes, that's my favorite. And the one where he's acting.
Yeah, that's merely acting, yes.
I'm merely acting. What is it, Liars Anonymous?
When he's like, hi, welcome to Liars Anonymous, where I'm the president of that organization. Yeah. And he keeps telling lies. Yeah. He also played Michael Dukakis, remember, who ran against George Bush the first, and in the famous debate. He had a ton of things.
Yeah. How about, do you remember Kevin Nealon, Subliminal Man?
Subliminal Message Man?
If we're going to do late 80s or early 90s Saturday Night Live that these young guys have no idea about.
Guys, it's worth your time. Okay.
Not really.
Beyond that, one other thing, a weird one. of someone who watches something before every game. I know this for a fact. Aaron Boone, the manager of the Yankees, watches one episode of Friends every single night before he goes to bed, and he watches them in chronological order and gets through each season in chronological order, and when he's done, just starts again from the beginning. I don't know. I know these things. He told me that himself.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of odd.
Yeah.
It's just a way to turn his brain off at night. I think a Yankee fan might say his brain's turned off during the game.
I think that, that's...
I like Boone, by the way.
That's, I don't know, it sounds kind of soft. Friends for a professional baseball manager? I would think of him...
What is he going to watch, Rocky?
Like a tough guy thing, yeah. Friends
Over the top?
Friends is a little soft, something a little more competitive, right? Like Rocky.
I know, but he's trying to wind down.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know. Friends is... Maybe if he went with The Office, that would be better or something.
Stu, you're a Yankee fan. What do you think about that from your manager?
I'm not the biggest fan of Friends, so yeah I'm not a fan of that.
You're not a Friends fan, Stu?
I'm not, no.
Wow, that's really against...
I tried.
That's against your age.
What do you not like about it?
I don't think it's that funny. I like Seinfeld and The Office much more. I just don't find Friends that funny. I've tried. I've watched a few times, and it doesn't do it for me.
EJ, Friends guy?
Not a Friends guy.
Yeah.
Well, I thought all young people liked Friends. All young people and Europeans think Friends was fascinating.
I don't think so.
I feel like maybe I don't know. I feel like maybe a couple years ahead of me and Stu. Maybe that's more of the generation. I feel like our generation when it comes to syndications, like Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Got it.
Wow.
I mean, we were watching Fresh Prince, the original run.
Right.
It was revolutionary. It was like, oh my God, this is the funniest show we've ever seen.
All I know of Fresh Prince now is the meme where at the end when he walks in and no one's there, and the different Carlton dancing things. I feel like I can't remember actual episode plots.
Oh, I do.
Yeah. See, that was, I did watch that live, but syndication just hits you differently. The syndication one's so much better.
So RPC in the chat says Friends is for the ladies. Gonna be honest, I don't like Friends either.
I kind of thought that about Aaron Boone. Like, you have to be a tough guy in the locker room. Is Friends your show?
No, but a lot of guys, or not a lot. I know Luis Severino is one guy specifically who, when he came to this country from the DR, Friends helped him learn English.
This could explain why.
Wilmer Flores is the same way. He uses Friends' walk-up song Friends' theme song rather as his walk-up song.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe that's why the Yankees can't win a World Series, because the Astros are playing. They're watching Rocky and
watching Die Hard.
Inspirational, The Natural, and kind of like sports movies, not Friends.
We figured it out. Someone called Brian Cashman.
Yeah, this is not. And by the way, I don't get The Town at all, because things end miserably in The Town.
Yeah, that's what Joe Mazzulla watches 4 times
first
a
of
week.
all, yeah, call a timeout, dude. First of all, maybe that's your problem.
They didn't do that in The Town. Maybe that's.
But I actually
why
read that.
Missed it. Just let your team get outscored 46-25 in the third quarter. Just sit there and watch it.
I read that The Town and Departed with Jack Nicholson and Leonardo DiCaprio are inspirational movies for people who grew up in Boston. Nothing good happened to Departed either. How
Departed is, and that Jack Nicholson's Boston accent is just atrocious in that movie.
Right.
I know he's a legend. I'm not saying Chinatown, I get it, but it's just that is bad.
Like, are these points of pride, The Departed and The Town? I don't know. To get fired up. Rocky gets you fired up for Philadelphia. These movies about crimes gone wrong in Boston, that's what they got?
It's like, let's watch Jack Nicholson snort cocaine.
Yeah, what's a good Boston movie? There's got to be a better one.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. Why are they watching that?
Well, because what are you going to watch? An emotional scene between Matt Damon and Robin Williams? That doesn't get you ready to play game 2.
It's not your fault, Maggie.
I know.
No. It's not your fault.
Don't. I'll start crying.
It's not your fault.
Don't do it. Weed Eater Brian is in the chat. Hello. Fever Pitch is a better Boston movie.
Jimmy Fallon sort
Drew
of.
Barrymore.
Yeah, it was originally about soccer, right? The Nick Hornby book.
Yeah.
That was okay. That wasn't great.
To be honest, I never saw it.
I've told you about this movie before. There was a Dan Aykroyd movie called Celtic Pride where 2 fans kidnapped the Utah Jazz, a star player. It is one of the worst movies ever made. So they can't watch Celtic Pride.
I believe you. Man, that's it. The show's over. We never got to the Alex Smith sound. Okay. We'll do it tomorrow. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Go subscribe. You subscribe. We'll donate money to charity, the Boys and Girls Club of the Red River Valley. We'll explain it all to you tomorrow. We'll see you there. Thank you, Stu. Thank you, EJ. The Widows of the Purple Drinkers in the chat. We gotta go. Bye.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.